Chapter 538. Hee, did I say that? Feng Shanshan asked Tang Yin with a smile. Professor, I'm leaving. Thank you for today. Tang Yin did not waste any more time with Feng Shanshan. He simply buttoned up his shirt and left the forensics lab. Professor, why didn't you tell me that there was someone else inside? I probably didn't tell you that Officer Tang is my nephew, the professor explained innocently. He said that his shoulder and neck are not feeling well recently. I asked him to come over, and I'll take a look. Feng Shanshan said, You're really good. I'm so embarrassed. It's raining outside. Did you bring an umbrella? I'll ask Tang Yin to send you back later. Won't the misunderstanding be cleared up? The professor said happily while cleaning the scalpel. When is Muchichi coming back? Feng Shanshan began to miss Muchichi. If she was here, the atmosphere would not be so awkward. After Huatsong's case, the branch office was quiet for a few days. So the forensics lab did not need any assistance. Feng Shanshan did not need to stay in the lab until late at night. When Feng Shanshan walked out of the lab, it was 9 o'clock at night. Tang Yin was at the door with an umbrella in his hand. His tall figure was always eye-catching. However, when he turned around and looked at the girl who had disagreed with him again and again, he thought that she would come over to help him with the umbrella. However, she pretended not to see him and rushed into the rainy night with her bag on her back. It took at least 10 minutes to get from the branch office to the bus stop. Was she going to get drenched in the rain? What a stubborn girl. When he arrived at the branch office, he was indeed a little interested in Muchichi. But he did not see Muchichi. Instead, he met such a strange girl. Was his umbrella poisonous? It had been raining a lot in Jianchuan recently. The winter wind was biting. Gu Xiling had been quite quiet recently. Every day, she prepared dinner on time and welcomed everyone from the Sheng family home from Huangyao. She spent some time to investigate Sheng Bowen's past love history, but she found that this man, who had lived for more than 30 years, had never had a woman. There was no way to talk about finding an ex or any exciting love history. Hu Ran was the same. Before she became stupid, she had never had a formal boyfriend. After she became stupid, there was no need to talk about it. If he wanted to drive a wedge between the two of them, he would have to find another way. Thinking of this, Gu Xiling asked Sheng Kai after dinner, Is third brother's secretary a man or a woman? Woman, what happened? Can you arrange a pretty and smart one for him? Gu Xiling asked. Sheng Kai looked at her for a long time. In the end, he did not say anything. However, he understood what she meant. She wanted to create some trouble for third brother. I will handle this matter, said Sheng Kai. Kai, there are some things that you have to do. Firstly, to keep an eye on him. Secondly, the Gu family has gone bankrupt, and the Hu family behind Hu Ran will be a great threat to you. I want to get rid of this stumbling block for you. Sheng Kai hugged Gu Xiling and nodded. I know, you did it for me. In another room, Hu Ran and third brother were discussing how to meet the paparazzi. That scumbag always stood them up when they met. In fact, third brother also knew what he wanted. It was nothing more than money. It was very simple. However, Hu Ran felt that even if she wanted to give him money, it would depend on whether what he said was worth it. Don't worry about this matter. I will contact the paparazzi. When we meet again, I will tell you. Before third brother went to bed, he said to Hu Ran, There is one more thing. My friend abroad told me that Tiffany & Company is starting to expose its shortcomings. In less than a month, the scandal will definitely spread. What about Huangyao? Sheng Bowen shrugged. Second brother insists on not withdrawing his investment. He wants to increase the investment. Grandpa believes in him. I can't do anything about it. I can only wait to suffer. You have tried your best. Don't make things difficult for yourself. Hu Ran smiled at him. Sheng Bowen tugged at his hair and smiled too. Eighth brother has taught me some ways to salvage the situation. I only hope that when the time comes, Huang Yao will not fall too deep. What about you? Is the communication with father-in-law going well? Dad said that before I show him the evidence, he will not let that woman get pregnant. So I still have time. That's good. After that, the two of them hugged each other naturally and lay down to sleep. But that was all. The two of them were like injured foxes hugging each other for warmth. In this extremely cold world of ice and snow, There was only each other. It was 9 o'clock in the morning in America. Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao filled in the documents at the notary office in America. After that, they would hold a small ceremony in the hall of the notary office. After that, they had to go through 2 notarization procedures. Even so, it would take about a week before they could get the marriage certificate. Seeing that the man in the black suit beside her was about to become hers completely, Mu Qiqi's lips curled up into a beautiful smile. I thought the notarization would be very complicated. Sheng Xiao held Mu Qiqi's hand. The two of them were heading to the notary office. They were surrounded by foreigners. But everyone's eyes were focused on the young Asian couple, because they were eye-catching. If you get married today, you won't have the chance to regret it in the future. So, you have to think clearly now. Before the ceremony, Sheng Xiao held Mu Qiqi's hands and said, "After today's registration, I will name everything after us. So, you won't be able to escape. I'm married. But you can't be so casual with me just because I didn't ask for a ring or a grand wedding. You have to make it up to me in the future." Mu Qiqi said with teary eyes. Sheng Xiao could not help but smile. "Do you have any other requests? I'll tell you when I think of something." Even if the country did not acknowledge it yet, it was fine as long as someone acknowledged it. At that moment, Sheng Xiao's tall figure shrouded Mu Qiqi, giving her the greatest sense of security and belonging. Stupid thing. At that moment, Mu Qiqi was wearing the white gown her father had prepared for her. Under the sacred oath, they finally registered their marriage. She had to admit that she was very nervous at that moment. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably. Mu Qiqi did not calm down even after the staff repeated the word "okay" several times. After the notarization, Mu Qiqi wanted to call her family to share the good news. But Sheng Xiao stopped her. "It's midnight now. If you want to call in the afternoon. Because tonight, I don't plan to let you rest." Just like that, she married the man she loved and was infatuated with the most in her life. From then on, she had a new identity, Mrs. Sheng. On the other hand, Lu Qianqian had gotten the appreciation of many entrepreneurs in the circle after she dealt with her youngest uncle. It was unexpected that such a small body could carry such a big business. She was also very bold. Everyone was saying that this little shrew was not to be trifled with. Now, no one would talk about Lu Qianqian meeting a scumbag anymore. Now the surprising thing was her ability to manage a business. After understanding some of this, and hearing people often praising this girl, old Lin felt that he had not really understood Lu Qianqian as a person. In the past, he only thought that she was extremely ridiculous and did not look like a girl at all. She was a living slut. Although he did not change his opinion of this girl now, at least he saw that Lu Qianqian still had a little bit of good in her. After staying in the hospital for a long time, old Lin's condition was not under control. Then other symptoms were found, and there seemed to be signs of diabetes. When Lu Qianqian knew about this, she immediately asked her secretary to contact a diabetes expert abroad. However, she did not tell old Lin that she was the one who invited the expert. Sometimes, she felt that this old man was pitiful and hateful. But in the end, he was not as stubborn as old Sheng. At least, he still had a little sincerity for Lin Muan. Otherwise, when Lin Muan hurt himself, he would not be a threat at all. Therefore, she was willing to do these insignificant things, so that one day, old Master Lin would no longer reject her so much. She even hid all of this from Lin Mu. And because she knew that Lin Mu and would not allow her to do such a thing. At night, Lu Qianqian lay on the bed and sent a message to Lin Muan. "After Dad left, Mommy seems to be very lonely. I want to encourage her to find new happiness, but I know that Mommy will definitely not let go of Dad. Then give her an obedient pet, so that when you go to work, she can also have a spiritual support." "You are right," Lu Qianqian thought carefully. "After all, when we have children, it will be a few years later. You want to have children with me?" Lin Muan's message was filled with a naughty smile. "Go to hell. Okay, when I have a holiday, I will come back to eat you," Lin Muan said calmly. Lu Qianqian wanted to tell Lin Mu, and that old Lin's condition had worsened. But she did not want to burden him, so she did not mention anything. She would wait for the foreign experts to come and confirm the diagnosis. To be honest, I miss you now. I usually hug you to sleep. Suddenly, when I return to the dormitory and hear the thunderous snoring of a few men, I feel a little aggrieved. Don't talk nonsense. Go to sleep. Don't you have training tomorrow? Lin Muan looked at his phone and smiled foolishly. Then he hugged his phone and fell asleep. After all, he had a lover and a family. It was in the middle of the night that the Tiffany & Company outside the country was in chaos. The latest person in charge had absconded with his mistress. Now, the police were hunting for them. The facade that he had created about Tiffany & Company had been torn apart. This huge jewelry empire was now riddled with holes. The people in the jewelry industry received the news one after another. Many people in Jianchuan also heard the news. However, no one told Sheng Kai about this until the next day. At the dining table in the Sheng family, Sheng Bowen casually mentioned it. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you something. Last night, I received news that the executive chairman of Tiffany & Company has run away. Now the police are hunting for him. Hearing this, Sheng Kai looked at Sheng Bowen in shock. What did you say? Your hearing is fine. You heard it. Sheng Kai was stunned for a moment. Then, he took out his phone from his pocket and called the secretary of Tiffany & Company directly. However, the other party told him that Tiffany & Company was in a mess now, and no one could manage it. Chapter 540. Sheng Bowen put down his chopsticks and looked at Sheng Kai coldly. Why didn't I tell you earlier? How many times have I told you that Tiffany & Company has a problem? Did you listen to me? Not only did you not listen to me, but you also increased the investment. We quarreled at home and in the company because of this. Are you blaming me for not telling you earlier? You are crazy. Is it Xing Xiao again? What does it have to do with Eighth Brother? How capable was Eighth Brother to be able to shut down a company in Europe? Don't you think you're overestimating yourself by blaming Eighth Brother when something happens? Eighth Brother has never treated you as an opponent because you are not qualified. Sheng Bowen sat down and continued to eat his breakfast calmly. Third brother, your second brother is just anxious. You don't have to help outsiders to deal with your second brother. Do you? Gu Xiling quickly stood beside Sheng Kai and expressed her opinion. If you and your wife have the time to talk nonsense with me, why don't you do something practical and save Huang Yao's losses? You'd better think about how you're going to explain this to the shareholders. You've lost tens of billions of yuan of investment. When Sheng Bowen mentioned the shareholders, Sheng Kai suddenly felt a headache. Why did this happen? Grandpa Sheng listened to the conversation between the two brothers. After a long time he said slowly, inform the people to hold an interim shareholders meeting. Grandpa, you don't have to say anything more. Grandpa Sheng got up from his chair and went to the study. Sheng Kai was furious. He grabbed third brother's clothes. You really put in a lot of effort to pull me down. You are wrong. You are the one who wants to pull yourself down. It has nothing to do with me, third brother said calmly. I will not do as you wish. Let's wait and see. Then, third brother broke free from Sheng Kai's grip and left the dining room with Hu Ran. Sheng Kai's face was pale, but he could not do anything about it. He had made a big mess of a $10 billion deal. But no matter what, he would not let Sheng Bowen get what he wanted. Did he want to take the position of crown prince from him? Don't even think about it. The news of Huang Yao encountering the glacier spread very quickly. It also surprised and shocked people. When Huang Yao was handed over to Sheng Xiao, there had never been such a big problem or crisis. However, Sheng Kai had only been the crown prince for a short period of time, and such a big case had already happened. Anyone would question Sheng Kai's ability, let alone the shareholders who were related to their own interests. Soon, Grandpa Sheng came out of the room after changing into a new set of clothes. When he passed by the living room, he said to third brother, you should come to the meeting too. Grandpa, I'd better not join in, or I'll get into a fight with second brother again. That's not good for solving the problem, third brother replied. Let's see if he has any contingency plans. So you have it. Ever since second brother proposed to cooperate with Tiffany & Company, I've been against it, but to no avail. For the future of Huang Yao, of course, I can't do nothing. But I can't tell you about this yet because I'm not confident, Sheng Bowen said to Grandpa Sheng. Old Sheng took a deep breath and nodded. I'll go to the meeting first. Sheng Kai was responsible for the matter. But did the old man not have his share of responsibility as well? Every time Sheng Kai and Sheng Bowen quarreled at home, Grandpa Sheng would always side with Sheng Kai. He rarely listened to third brother's opinion. But now, he had suffered a setback. After Grandpa Sheng left, the living room of the Sheng family finally quieted down, because Gu Xiling just stared at Sheng Bowen silently. After a long while, she finally said, I really couldn't tell that you're so clever. Same to you. This matter had blown up. Sheng Xiao, who was far away in America, had received the news. He was about to return to Jianchuan with Mu Qiqi. However, when they arrived, the board meeting of Huang Yao had already ended a few times. I don't know much about the business world, but will this matter shake the foundation of Huang Yao? Of course not. The loss of investment is completely different from the Gu family's situation. There are many ways to remedy it. Sheng Xiao answered Mu Qiqi. These things are very complicated. You might not understand even if I say a few words. Don't waste your brain cells. You just need to know that this is a good opportunity for third brother to take over. Are you really planning to pull second brother down from the position of crown prince? It's not me. It's third brother. Sheng Zhao's eyes were half closed as he rested in the VIP lounge of the airport. His tone was lazy as if this matter did not bother him at all. Does third brother have such great ambition? It's not like you don't know that he was imprisoned in the Sheng family. Only when he has real power can he really control his life. Then are you going to help him? Sheng Xiao shook his head. I don't want to get involved in the jewelry industry anymore. Moreover, if third brother can't handle this matter, the result will be the same even if the person in charge of Huang Yao is changed. Mu Qiqi could not understand the deception in the business world. She did not want to understand it. I can only pray for third brother in my heart. At this moment, the atmosphere in the meeting room of Huang Yao was unusually tense. Even Grandpa Sheng was personally involved. One could imagine how big a blow this matter was to Huang Yao. Sheng Kai was sitting in the CEO's seat. However, all the shareholders looked at him suspiciously. Some of them even made things difficult for Sheng Kai. Huang Yao has never had such a failed investment in so many years. When Sheng Xiao was still around, we never sat here to hold anyone responsible for our investments. But today, I want to ask you something. CEO Sheng, have you thought of a solution for this matter? How much can the loss be reduced? Before this, third young master strongly opposed it. But CEO Sheng repeatedly assured the board that this cooperation was in the bag. But now, I just want to know who will fill the billions of losses. CEO Sheng, is it you? Old chairman, please give us shareholders an explanation today no matter what. Grandpa Sheng looked at everyone coldly. He did not speak from the beginning to the end. He just stared ahead without moving. Old chairman? Grandpa. Everyone looked at Grandpa Sheng, only to see him suddenly fall down from his chair. Everyone panicked and did not know what to do. Call an ambulance. Call an ambulance. In the end, the meeting could not continue. It was postponed until the afternoon when Grandpa Sheng woke up. When third brother heard the news, he immediately went to the hospital with Hu Ran. But Grandpa Sheng was still in the emergency room. Chapter 541. I'm the only one who's selfish. Aren't you selfish too? Sheng Kai retorted. What right do you and eighth brother have to question me? Calm down. Grandpa is still being examined. He heard you arguing outside. His condition is going to get worse. Hu Ran quickly separated the two of them. How can you still have the mood to quarrel at a time like this? Sheng Bowen let go of Sheng Kai's collar and took a few steps back. The two brothers stood on each side, anxiously waiting for the news from the emergency room. Although they had a lot of hatred and complaints, they could not help but worry when it came to a critical moment. A moment later, the doctor came out of the emergency room and said to the two brothers, It's not a big deal. He's just in shock because of the lack of oxygen. The patient is resting inside now. Try not to disturb him or stimulate him. Thank you, doctor. The two brothers heaved a sigh of relief and entered the ward. When they saw Grandpa Sheng sitting on the bed, they walked over together. Grandpa, how are you feeling? Eighth brother, you're back. Grandpa Sheng looked at Sheng Kai and said naturally. Sheng Kai was stunned, and so was Sheng Bowen. In fact, deep in Grandpa Sheng's heart, he had always been worried about Sheng Xiao. He missed Sheng Xiao and wanted to rely on Sheng Xiao. However, the person he wanted to be close to the most was also pushed out of the house by him. Grandpa rests well. Sheng Bowen helped him lie down, because he could feel that Grandpa Sheng had not recovered yet. I'll stay here with Grandpa. You should do what you should do. Third brother did not want to quarrel with Sheng Kai now, so he took the initiative to say that he wanted to stay in the hospital. However, Sheng Kai was not at ease. You're staying here? If you ask Grandpa to make a will or ask him to transfer the shares to you while he's unconscious, I won't know anything. After Sheng Bowen heard this, he sneered. This is the first time I've realized that your heart is actually so dirty. I'm just taking precautions. Get out. Unexpectedly, Grandpa Sheng shouted at Sheng Kai. Do you want me to die? Grandpa, I'm still conscious. Grandpa, that's not what I meant. Grandpa Sheng waved his hand and gestured for Sheng Kai to leave. If he had not heard it with his own ears, he would not have believed that second brother was so suspicious of third brother. After all these years, he thought that he understood his two grandsons' temperaments very well. His third son had never played any tricks on him, but his second son had become more and more unfamiliar with him. What about Tiffany and Company then? Do as you see fit. If the shareholders aren't satisfied and want to remove you from your position, then just let them be. That was the old man's last hope for Sheng Kai. If he could not handle the matter well, it would mean that he was not qualified to continue being the heir of Huang Yao. It was as simple as that. Sheng Kai's heart sank. But there was nothing he could do. He could only turn around and leave the ward. There was nothing he could do but go to Huang Yao to think of a solution. It had happened so suddenly that he had to go to Europe himself to understand the situation. After that, the board meeting continued. Sheng Kai asked the shareholders for their consent. Give me a week. I will make up for the loss of Huang Yao this time. Thinking that Grandpa Sheng had fainted in the meeting room just now, the shareholders did not want to force Sheng Kai, so they agreed to his request. Then we will give you a week. If you can't solve the crisis within a week, then we, the shareholders, think that you are not suitable to continue being the CEO of Huang Yao. CEO Sheng, you have to take care of yourself. Then, Sheng Kai asked his secretary to book a plane ticket abroad. He was about to take off soon. As for the hospital, he could only call Gu Xiling. Grandpa is in the hospital now. Third brother and his wife are taking care of him. But Xiling, you know my concern. I can't let third brother and Grandpa be alone together. Don't worry. Leave such a small matter to me, Gu Xiling replied. In the ward, Gu Xiling had not arrived yet. Grandpa Sheng leaned against the bed and looked at Sheng Bowen. Third brother, tell me the truth. Are you still in contact with eighth brother? Occasionally, third brother replied. But it doesn't involve any secrets. Eighth brother has almost no interest in Huang Yao's matters now. Is that so? Grandpa Sheng murmured. Grandpa, you know very well that the company will face the same situation sooner or later if you hand it over to second brother. That's why you are thinking about eighth brother. Grandpa Sheng remained silent and did not answer. After a long while he said to Sheng Bowen, I want to see him. But he is not in the country now. Then wait for him to come back. I will ask him. Third brother did not dare to tell Grandpa Sheng that he was dead. He could only reluctantly agree. Outside the door, Gu Xiling heard the conversation between the grandfather and grandson. The coldness in her eyes was obvious. She did not expect that after such a long time, Sheng Xiao was still in Grandpa Sheng's heart. It turned out that he had always doubted Sheng Kai's ability. He wanted to see Sheng Xiao at this time? What did he want to do? Gu Xiling panicked when she heard what Grandpa Sheng said. She knew very well that Sheng Kai might not be able to keep his position as CEO after the failure of the collaboration with Tiffany and Company this time. Sheng Kai had put in so much effort, but in the end, he still could not win against Grandpa Sheng's favoritism. Humph, he was really heartless. That night, Jinchuan seemed to be especially cold. It was not only because of the weather, but also because of the people's hearts. When Feng Shanshan arrived at the forensics laboratory, she looked around cautiously. It was because she was afraid that another person would jump out when she badmouthed someone else. Seeing this, the professor laughed. Do you really not like Tang Yan? Not really. Hee. Feng Shanshan quickly tried to cover it up. Just when the professor was about to expose her blushing face, a police officer knocked on the door. Professor, what's the matter? There was a murder case in a hotel in the city. Captain, please go to the field immediately. I will go immediately after I get ready. After saying that, the professor gestured to Feng Shanshan. Let's go. Chi-Chi is not here, so I can only ask you. Mu Chi-Chi is here. Aren't you going to ask me? Stop talking about Wenju's name. Pack your things. It's a matter of life and death. Having said that, the professor immediately carried the forensics case. Chapter 542. Shanshan, take Tang Yan's motorcycle, the professor said to Feng Shanshan when he saw that the police car was full. But don't tell me you want me to take a motorcycle at my age? Feng Shanshan felt that the professor was doing it on purpose to embarrass her. But for the sake of investigating the case, she walked behind Tang Yan and said to him, Sorry to trouble you, Officer Tang. Come on. Tang Yan handed the helmet to Feng Shanshan coldly. Put it on. Hold on tight when the speed is too fast. Otherwise, I won't be responsible if you fall to the ground. Feng Shanshan was speechless. Did he think that she was a good girl, who had never ridden a motorcycle before? Even so, Feng Shanshan only knew what excitement was when she got into Tang Yan's car. She even felt that she was floating in the air the whole time. Was this man playing tricks on her on purpose? Of course, with such a fast speed. The two of them arrived at the crime scene immediately. Tang Yan showed his ID, and the police officers immediately let him in. A total of 4 people died. 1 downstairs, 1 at the staircase, 1 on the bed in the room, and 1 in the bathroom. 2 men and 2 women. They are all between 24 to 30 years old. Feng Shanshan could not help but sigh when she saw the tragic scene along the way. They are all slashes. Each of them has at least 5 to 6 wounds. The murder weapon is something like an axe. As for Tang Yan, he did not speak throughout the whole process because he was good at psychological profiling. His eyes were observing the crime scene, as if he was not willing to let go of any corner. Soon the professor and the others arrived at the scene. When they saw Feng Shanshan squatting beside the body at the door, they were surprised. You're so fast. Thanks to a certain someone, we've already looked through the crime scene once, Zhao Yu said. Can't you slow down when you're carrying a girl? The professor scolded Tang Yan. You really don't know how to be tender to a girl. I'm used to it, Tang Yan replied coldly. How's the crime scene? The professor changed the topic. Look at the body. It's still fresh and warm. Yes, it happened 2 or 3 hours ago, the police officer at the scene said. Shanshan, have you done a preliminary examination of the body? The one at the entrance was slashed in the back. There were a total of 7 wounds, 2 of which reached the heart. The cause of death was due to excessive bleeding. As for the woman in the stairwell, her abdomen and waist were slashed to varying degrees, but we don't know which one was the deadliest. The man on the bed in the room was directly beheaded. As for the man in the bathroom, the way he died is a bit strange. He was pierced through the heart by a sharp fruit knife. The preliminary judgment is that he committed suicide. Beside him, there is a blood-stained axe. So the case can be closed just like that? The young policeman asked them innocently. However, from Feng Shanshan and Tang Yan's eyes, the professor was certain. It's not that simple, right? Tang Yan replied. There are many suspicious points. Then take the body back and dissect it. Also do a DNA match for these bloodstains. As for the rest, we'll talk about it when we get back to the police station. The captain walked around and said to them, I still want to take a look at the scene. After saying that, the professor squatted at the place where Feng Shanshan had squatted just now and began to carefully examine the body. He also asked Feng Shanshan to record the shape of the bloodstains. Sometimes, when there were more deaths and the case was more complicated, they could use these bloodstains to reconstruct the murderer's movements at that time. Feng Shanshan did as she was told. She was also very careful. This made Tang Yan's impression of her change a little. At first glance, he could tell that she was familiar with the process. She was not shy at all. What Tang Yen was most afraid of was meeting some naive people when he was investigating a case. Obviously, Feng Shanshan was not one of them. He just did not know what kind of person Mu Qiqi was. An hour later, the police had made a copy of all the evidence that could be taken away from the crime scene. It was time for everyone to leave the scene. The professor glanced at Tang Yen and was about to instruct him, but he was very self-aware. He directly handed the helmet to Feng Shanshan. Let's go. Feng Shanshan shuddered when she thought of the speed just now. I'd better take a taxi. Up to you. After saying that, Tang Yen put away the helmet and got on his motorcycle. The professor was speechless when he saw this. He's really single based on his own ability. No wonder he still can't find a girlfriend after so long. TSK. Feng Shanshan was not shy. She took a taxi herself. She also liked to be straightforward. She hated men who kept pestering her the most. Soon, the group returned to the police station. After all, there were 4 bodies, and there were not enough forensic doctors. So Feng Shanshan could only stay to help. However, she did not expect Tang Yen to also know how to dissect. Seeing Feng Shanshan's confusion, Tang Yen explained casually, I've also learned clinical medicine and anatomy. Feng Shanshan nodded. Although she was not used to it, she still cooperated. We'll have to stay up late tonight. Be prepared. You help here. Let Shanshan go back. She's a student, and she still has class tomorrow. The professor criticized Tang Yen. I really want to slap you awake. You don't know how to be considerate of a girl at all. Tang Yen shrugged and continued to bury his head in dissecting the body. Professor, I can do it. Feng Shanshan perked up. I only have class tomorrow afternoon. Don't force yourself. Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes and looked at Tang Yen. Don't look down on me. As for Mu Qiqi, who Tang Yen wanted to see, she flew back to Jianchuan from America at 9 o'clock the next day. She and Sheng Xiao got off the plane. Before they could go home, she received a call from Sheng Bowen. Grandpa is sick. He wants to see you 8th brother. Sheng Xiao held Mu Qiqi's hand and did not give 3rd brother a definite answer. Let me understand the situation first. Trust me, this time, Grandpa won't make things difficult for you. Was Sheng Xiao afraid of making things difficult for him? Not at all. He wanted to know how bad Huang Yao is now, and what the old man was thinking. Even so, he did not let 3rd brother go. I'll get back to you later. What's wrong? The old man suddenly had an idea. He wants to see me again. Sheng Xiao held Mu Qiqi's hand tightly. I'll send you home first. I'm going to Zhongteng. No need. I'm not tired yet. If you want to see the old man, you have to bring me along. Mu Qiqi held Sheng Xiao's hand. Just send me to the forensics lab. I don't have class in the morning. Not resting? Not jet-lagged? Sheng Xiao asked with a hidden meaning. Chapter 543. Sheng Xiao stroked Mu Qiqi's hair. Forget it. I can't do anything to you. Then, Su Che drove Mu Qiqi to the forensics laboratory. The professor was busy. When he saw Mu Qiqi, he smiled. Xiao Qi, you came back at the right time. Come and help me. You have to wait for me to change and get ready. Mu Qiqi pointed at her clothes. You finally know that you are back. Feng Shanshan walked out of the room. She had dark circles under her eyes and looked very tired. You can help the professor now. I am going to lie on the sofa for a while. Mu Qiqi looked at the corpses on the dissection table. Then, she saw a tall man standing beside the dissection table. She frowned. This is the new detective Tang Yen, Feng Shanshan said impatiently. He is good at psychological profiling. Tang Yen stopped what he was doing and took off his gloves. He extended his hand to Mu Qiqi. I have heard a lot about you. I am sorry. Mu Qiqi extended her hand and shook his hand politely. Then both of them looked away. But Mu Qiqi asked Feng Shanshan with her eyes and mouthed. What happened? Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. I will tell you later. You should understand the case first. What happened to this case? A total of 4 people died. 2 men and 2 women. 3 of them were hacked to death. And the last one was stabbed in the heart with a fruit knife. The police have verified the identity and background of these 4 people. From the looks of it, the murderer killed them first, and then committed suicide. So we can close the case. But things are not that simple. Then, I will look at the corpses first and keep up with your progress, Muchichi said. Then she focused on the corpses. At 10 o'clock in the morning, Sheng Xiao appeared in Zhongting's office. His secretary immediately sent him the documents that he needed to deal with. Sheng Xiao looked at the documents on the table and said to Su Che, I want to know about the case between Tiffany and Company and Huang Yao. I knew you would ask, so I have investigated it. I got the latest news through some channels. Su Che immediately passed the documents to Sheng Xiao. Sheng Kai has flown abroad, but the situation in Tiffany and Company is very bad for him. I was the one who handed Huang Yao over to him. I never thought this day would come. Sheng Xiao stood in front of the French window, his eyes sharp and cold. That's not something you can control. I'll pick Qi up from school in the afternoon, and then go to the hospital. Huang Yao's foundation was strong, and the 10 billion yuan of cooperation would not hurt the foundation of Huang Yao. But even so, it would be a great blow to their vitality, and they would need a long time to recover, unless they could think of a way to remedy it. I remember that the Tiffany family has an elder brother, right? Indeed. When the old chairman passed away, the two brothers fought for a long time. Because the elder brother was not a pure Tiffany family member, he lost. If Sheng Kai is smart enough, he will know to look for this brother. Wasn't this a turning point? Su Che didn't know what was the point of looking for that big brother in this situation. In the hospital, Gu Xiling told Sheng Kai that Grandpa Sheng wanted to meet Sheng Xiao. On the other hand, Sheng Kai finally got off the plane. But before he heard any good news, he was stabbed in the back by his own grandfather. Did his grandfather not believe in his ability? Looking for Sheng Xiao now, asking him to come back and hold the fort? He would never allow it. Xiling, listen to what they have to say and be prepared. I will never let Sheng Xiao take away everything that I have worked so hard for. I know, Gu Xiling said. However, it was easy for her to make things difficult for Sheng Bowen. But how could she stop Sheng Xiao? Now, I'll go to Tiffany and Company to understand the situation. The Sheng family will depend on you. We are of one mind. Don't worry. Mu Chichi had to attend classes in the afternoon, so she could only understand the case briefly in the morning, so that she would not fall behind. Based on the current situation, the distribution of the blood stains was a very important breakthrough point. In such a case, it was best to reconstruct the movement of the murderer, so that the police could get the most information and help them solve the case. We will wait for you to do the experiment tonight. Let's wait for more information from the police, the professor said to them. Go back to class first. Mu Chichi supported Feng Shanshan, and they took a taxi together. However, when she saw Tang Yin behind them, Mu Chichi could not help but gossip. This man is so tall and strong, and he has a good face. Aren't you interested in him at all? Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. Don't mention it. I have said bad things about him several times and he heard it. He is not a quarrelsome couple. Enemy my *s. Any random boyfriend I've had would have a much higher EQ than him. This is an ancient creature. It's better not to provoke it. Feng Shanshan yawned, looking like she wanted to stay away from it. Besides, he is here for you. I have heard a lot about you. I'm married. Don't hurt me, okay? Mu Chichi quickly said. I forgot that the one in your family is a super jealous king. Then Feng Shanshan closed her eyes. Call me when you arrive at school. However, when school was about to end, Sheng Xiao texted Mu Chichi that he would go to the hospital to see the old man. Mu Chichi sighed. She might not be able to help the professor with the experiment today, but she did not want Sheng Xiao to go back and face Grandpa Sheng and Gu Xiling alone. Although no one could bully her man, it was not bad to go back and see third brother and third sister-in-law. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Su Che drove Sheng Xiao and Mu Chichi to the hospital. At that time, Gu Xiling happened to be delivering food to Grandpa Sheng. When she saw Sheng Xiao and Mu Chichi getting out of the car, her chest immediately lit up. So, she did not think much and stopped them. What are you doing in the hospital? Don't you think you have hurt Grandpa enough? Su Che. Sheng Xiao did not want to talk to her, and called out to Su Che. Su Che stood in front of Gu Xiling, and reached out to block her way. Miss Gu, I think you can wait here for a while. What if I don't? Then I can tell you clearly that as long as it is someone with bad intentions, I will beat them up regardless of whether they are old, young, or women. Suche replied coldly. You. Gu Xiling wanted to force her way over, but Suche pushed her back. Gu Xiling deliberately fell to the ground. You are shameless. You bully a woman. Chapter 544. In front of the ward, Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi saw third brother and his wife. Go in. Grandpa is inside. Eighth brother, Grandpa can't be provoked. Watch your words. I won't go in. Mu Qiqi looked at Sheng Xiao and said, if I go in and make his condition worse, I will be a sinner. Take good care of Cheer, Sheng Xiao said to third brother and his wife. Sheng Bowen pointed at the door and gestured for Sheng Xiao to go in quickly. Gu Xiling could not afford to offend your precious daughter. Moreover, she had Suche with her. Sheng Xiao pushed the door open. His tall figure slowly walked to Grandpa Sheng. Under the light, Sheng Xiao's figure made people feel pressured. He was calm and mature. Didn't you want to see me? Grandpa Sheng looked at his grandson. His hands could not help but tremble. When you handed everything to second brother, did you ever think that this would happen? Eighth brother, don't you think you entrusted the wrong person? Isn't it normal to fail in an investment? But when you were in Huangyao, you never let such a thing happen. Grandpa Sheng looked at Sheng Xiao with a burning gaze. Don't you think that this is a side effect of your capriciousness to Sheng Kai? When I was in Huangyao, you could control everything in your hands. You could do whatever you wanted. Heaven today, hell tomorrow. Second brother knew very well that he was not as capable as me. How could he keep his position as the crown prince? Of course, you would get rid of the dissidents. Because he did not feel safe, and his heart was full of danger. You would seize the opportunity to use the people who are useful to you. You would turn around and abandon the people who are useless to you. With this premise, of course, he would not tolerate third brother's existence. When people are extreme, their thoughts will also be crazy. Have you never thought about this carefully? Sheng Xiao sat on the sofa at the side, showing his noble posture. If you can't let go, Huangyao will always be in a state of war. Killing each other is just an internal friction. Will you really not come back? Grandpa Sheng still had a glimmer of hope for Sheng Xiao. At least, help Huangyao through this crisis. There will always be someone who can solve Huangyao's problems. If you are willing to trust third brother more, he will naturally give you a satisfactory answer. As for me, I'm walking a different path. We're not on the same side anymore, Sheng Xiao told old Sheng frankly. I feel like my body is getting worse. Grandpa Sheng said to Sheng Xiao, admitting defeat. He had never used such a pleading tone. I don't want Huangyao to be destroyed in my hands after so many years. I won't target Mu Qiqi anymore. And I don't expect you to come back. I only have one request, and I hope you can promise me. You first. If Huangyao falls to the point of no return in second brother's hands, I beg you, use your power to buy Huangyao, or at least keep what belonged to our ancestors. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the face to face the ancestors of the Sheng family even if I die. I'll consider it if it's worth it, said Sheng Xiao. With these words of yours, even if I die, I can rest in peace. So, it only took Sheng Xiao 10 minutes to get rid of Suche. By the time Gu Xiling got rid of Suche, Sheng Xiao had already come out of Grandpa Sheng's ward. As the CEO of Zhongting, you don't usually care about anything. But when Grandpa Sheng is sick, you immediately come to the hospital. You are really filial. Why? Are you also thinking about Grandpa Sheng's inheritance? I realize that every time I see you, you are always so aggressive. You like to bluff, Mu Qiqi retorted. Are you that afraid that we will come back to snatch it? Or do you know that second brother will step down from the Tiffany & Company partnership, and that you and your wife will lose everything? Since you have everything, why are you trying to tempt Grandpa? Did you see it with your own eyes? Or did you hear it with your own ears? You are really good at framing people. But if Grandpa Sheng really wants to consider Xiao Xiao, I'll be glad to see it. After all, who doesn't like money? Don't you think so, second sister-in-law? More importantly, if Grandpa Sheng really wants Xiao Xiao's share, you can't do anything even if you protest to your death. If you are so capable, go against Zhongting. Gu Xiling's eyes were red with anger. But she could do nothing. You are just bullying me, because my man is not by my side. That's what you deserve. Then, Mu Qiqi turned to look at Sheng Xiao. Send me to the forensics laboratory. It's much better to help the professor with the murder case than to stay here. After all, I don't want to waste my saliva. Sheng Xiao looked calm. He put his hand on Mu Qiqi's shoulder. Suche, let's go. Then, the three of them left the hospital and disappeared into the corridor. But Gu Ziling's anger had not been vented yet. Third brother, you are really something. Now that Huang Yao is in trouble both internally and externally, you still brought the Sheng family's enemies here. Are you in cahoots with Sheng Xiao to steal Grandpa's inheritance? Third brother saw that Gu Ziling was like a shrew, standing at the door of the ward and shouting. She did not look like a socialite at all. So he reminded her, to be honest, you don't win everything just because you are loud. Having said that, he was about to enter the ward, but Gu Ziling stopped him. You don't need to take care of this place before second brother comes back. Sheng Bowen was about to retaliate when Grandpa Sheng appeared at the door. He said to Gu Ziling, go back. Third brother and his wife are enough. Grandpa, don't fall for Sheng Xiao and third brother's trap. Before Gu Ziling could finish, old Sheng's slap had already landed on her. I'm not dead yet, and you're already getting one inheritance after another. Grandpa, get lost. Grandpa Sheng dragged third brother and his wife into the ward and slammed the door shut. Third brother quickly comforted Grandpa Sheng. Grandpa, take care of yourself. Chronic illness makes no filial son. I haven't been sick for a long time, but they are already thinking about my inheritance. Grandpa Sheng sneered. Why would Gu Ziling say that? I don't believe second brother doesn't know that these two are plotting against each other. Grandpa, eighth brother told me to trust you more. Third brother, tell me the truth. Do you have a solution for this crisis? Chapter 545. As long as he is willing to come out and stabilize the situation, Tiffany and Company will still have a chance to survive. The cooperation with Huang Yao can also be carried out. I have been in contact with him for some time. He is an upright and honorable person. Will he agree to take over the business? After all, he needs a large sum of money to make up for the deficit. He has the most inheritance in his hands. So it will not be a problem for him to stabilize Tiffany and Company, and he has many businesses under his name, Sheng Bowen replied. If that is the case, then you must be responsible for this matter. Don't let Huang Yao suffer any losses. Grandpa has wronged you in this matter. I have wronged you in the past. Grandpa Sheng suddenly said to Sheng Bowen, you have only been sick for a day, but I have seen through many things. Now you are just in shock. If you are seriously ill and unconscious, I am afraid you and your wife will not be able to fight against second brother and his wife. I really did not expect second brother to be so scheming. Outside the door, Gu Ziling was eavesdropping. She knew that Sheng Bowen had contacted the Tiffany and Company people, so she immediately called Sheng Kai. Look for the eldest young master of the Tiffany and Company people. He can solve your problem. It turns out that third brother has been secretly trying to win him over. Sheng Kai suddenly woke up from his dream. Yes, why didn't I think of meeting the eldest young master of the Tiffany and Company people? Kai, Grandpa has met Sheng Xiao. I don't know what they talked about. His damn assistant stopped me, and I couldn't move. Sheng Kai knew that this would be the result. It's not your fault. You have already helped me a lot. However, Sheng Bowen had said that this eldest young master was an upright and honorable person. That meant that he would not make friends with just anyone, and would not be willing to meet just anyone. Could Sheng Kai really meet him this time? Let's just wait and see. In order not to let Gu Ziling treat him as a seriously ill patient, Grandpa Sheng was discharged from the hospital that night. When he returned home, he was as dignified as usual. Before going to bed, he called his lawyer. Let's meet outside tomorrow. I want to change my will. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi had returned to the forensics lab, where the professor and Feng Shanshan were conducting various experiments on blood morphology. Splashes, water droplets, and the direction of the blood droplets all represented the murderer's movement trajectory. Previously, many legal programs had introduced such cases. Unexpectedly, they really encountered such a case. and it seemed to be a highly imitated crime. According to the police's deduction, the order of death should start from the room, then the one in the stairwell, and finally the one at the hotel entrance. However, the first person to die was the man who had fallen at the hotel entrance. The second one was the woman, who came down from the stairwell. The third was the woman on the bed in the room, and the last was the man in the bathroom. He's about 1.75 meters tall, male, and his body is incomplete. His left foot is seriously indented. If I'm not mistaken, he's missing an index finger on his left hand. He's about 40 years old and has a certain level of anti-detection ability, Tang Yin said to the others. When Tang Yin finished speaking, Mu Qiqi and the other two were stunned. Officer Tang, can you be more specific? The height deduction is based on the height of the first man, and all the cuts on his body are concentrated on his back. This shows that the murderer can only come here. As for the murderer's incomplete body, it's based on his footprints. According to the police's investigation, these 2 men and 2 women are not incomplete. However, they found a set of footprints at the crime scene, one light and one heavy, forming a figure 8. As for the missing index finger, it's based on the third victim. The murderer accidentally placed his left hand on the bed, and there were handprints on the edge of the bed. The position of the index finger is very clean. So, do you understand now? Mu Qiqi did not expect Tang Yin to be so observant. Sure enough, it made sense that his EQ was low. He was a serious person who did practical work. He should not have the energy to be in a relationship. What about the identity and social background of these 2 men and 2 women? The 2 men are brothers, and the 2 women are their wives. This hotel is owned by them, but because the police are investigating, the hotel is still under renovation. So there are no customers in the hotel, the professor told Mu Qiqi. If the victim in the bathroom is the last victim, then where did the murderer escape from? After all, he wanted to create the illusion that the murderer committed suicide. If he went back the way he came and swaggered away, there would definitely be evidence left behind. Mu Qiqi raised the most crucial question of the case. Let's ask the police to screen the clues according to Tang Yin, and see if there are any suitable suspects. The few of them worked for a few hours before they finally figured out the case. However, when Feng Shanshan sat at the side and rested, she stole a glance at Tang Yin. Actually, she had only heard about profiling before, but she had never really seen it. Today, after listening to Tang Yin's analysis, she realized that there was a huge gap between her and Tang Yin. At least in terms of professionalism, Tang Yin was worthy of his identity as a police officer. Why? Suddenly, there are hearts in your eyes? Mu Qiqi noticed that Feng Shanshan was peeking at Tang Yin. She leaned on her shoulder and gossiped. A man is the most charming when he shows his ability, Feng Shanshan replied. Actually, looking at him like this, he is not that annoying. Low EQ. That's what you said. You won't even consider a man with low EQ. Don't worry. I just think that he's good at what he does. If we really dated, I think I'd die of anger 1,000 times. Because you can imagine, a man like that, even in bed, would be like a dead fish. All he would do is move. He's not interesting at all. After Tang Yin changed his clothes and came out, he heard Feng Shanshan's words. His eyebrows immediately furrowed. This woman's imagination was really rich. She even thought about what to do in bed in the future? It's not that bad. I think Officer Tang is still very cute. Feng Shanshan shook her head. Then, she changed her clothes with Mu Qiqi and prepared to leave the lab. Of course, Mu Qiqi had someone to pick her up. It was always sweet. Unfortunately, Feng Shanshan had to take a ride again. Actually, it was not that she did not have the ability to buy a car. It was just that she did not want to drive it. It was too wasteful. What was worse was that Tang Yin, with his low EQ, directly rode his motorcycle and roared past her. He really roared past her. Chapter 546. That night, when Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao returned home, Mama Sheng quickly welcomed them home. Aren't you going to rest after registering your marriage? You'll be busy when you get back to Jianchuan. Mom, we're not tired, Mu Qiqi quickly said. Sheng Xiao, you're a husband now. You should think more about Xiao Qi. You can't be as willful as before. Sheng Xiao did not say anything. He just frowned slightly. Mu Qiqi quickly spoke up for Sheng Xiao. Mom, Xiao Xiao has changed a lot in the past 6 months. He has the charm of a mature man now. Mama Sheng looked at her son, and then at Mu Qiqi. It's all your credit. You've changed Sheng Xiao. All right, Mom. Chia is tired. Let's go back to our room. Wait. Huang Yao is in such a state now. That old man will definitely want to get you back. You can't help Huang Yao. Think about how your father was almost burned to death in Jingting. I'll never forgive that old man for the rest of my life. It's not our place to interfere in this matter. With that, Sheng Xiao brought Mu Qiqi upstairs to their room. But what did you say to that old man in the afternoon? Mu Qiqi could not help but ask. Is he trying to use you again? It seems that he has realized it. I just don't know if he's sincere or not. Sheng Xiao put down his luggage and pushed Mu Qiqi to the bathroom. Take a shower first. Would he be so kind? Mu Qiqi mumbled as she took off her clothes. Before entering the bathroom, she leaned against the door and asked Sheng Xiao, Aren't you coming with me? Who am I to you? Why should I come with you? We're already an old couple. Still playing this game. With that, Mu Qiqi walked to Sheng Xiao and grabbed his collar. Sheng Xiao chuckled and carried Mu Qiqi in his arms. Where did this old couple come from? We're just newlyweds. The next morning, Grandpa Sheng went out with his butler as usual. It seemed that he was meeting up with a friend. Gu Xiling was not suspicious. She did not dare to act rashly in front of Grandpa Sheng. After all, it was the first time Grandpa Sheng touched her yesterday. Thinking about it, she and Sheng Kai were indeed a little too radical. Grandpa Sheng was just suffering from a minor illness, but they were already guarding against everyone in the family. They even let Grandpa Sheng see through their intentions. It was really not worth it. Now that Sheng Kai was in such a situation, the loss outweighed the gain. If Sheng Kai could not handle the cooperation with Tiffany and Company, he would most likely lose his position as CEO. Now it was old Master Shen's turn to guard against second brother and his wife. After arriving at the agreed location, the old man went straight to meet his private lawyer. He said to the lawyer, I want to change my will. Are you ready? Chairman, just say it. The lawyer was ready. What I want to change is the distribution of shares. Sheng Xiao will take 30% of the shares under my name, and the other 6 grandchildren will share the remaining 70%. The lawyer was stunned. It's Sheng Xiao, 8th young master. Are you sure? I'm sure. Old Master Sheng nodded. At first, I didn't want to give you a single cent, but I'm getting older and my heart softens. Why did you make such an adjustment? The lawyer could not understand, because he felt that Sheng Xiao had hurt Grandpa Sheng a lot in the past. There are many descendants in the Sheng family, but they are all mediocre. Second brother is the only one who is decent. But in just half a year, he has grown a lot of ambition. This grandson is not easy to control. If he really takes over the power, he will not treat the others in the Sheng family well in the future. Third brother is loyal and tolerant, but he is not the material to manage the company. He can be an assistant, but he does not have the talent to be an emperor. Thinking about it, only 8th brother is more capable than others and can stabilize the Sheng family. After I woke up from my coma that day, I suddenly had a great feeling. Maybe one day, I will fall down like this again and won't be able to get up again. However, I can't leave such a big mess behind. Otherwise, when the time comes, the brothers will fight to the death again. The lawyer nodded. But, 8th young master has Zhongting now. Will he still be willing to take over Huang Yao? You don't think he will, right? Grandpa Sheng smiled. But I don't think he will just stand by and watch. Now I can understand 8th brother a little. He only looks ruthless and decisive, but he is still soft. Then, what is the chairman going to do with the will? There are 3 wills. One is in my hands, one is in your hands, and the last one will be given to 8th brother. But don't let him open it now. Chairman, you are afraid. Second brother and his wife are so selfish. I am afraid that they will have other ideas when the time comes, said Grandpa Sheng. Old Sheng replied. Some things can only be understood in the end. I was too stubborn in the past. After hearing the old man's words, the lawyer nodded. I'll prepare the notarization. Sheng Xiao might not care about the 30% of the shares, but he would never let second brother's conspiracy succeed. What if second brother and his wife made things difficult for third brother after he left? Eighth brother still had a reason and an excuse to intervene. That family was led astray by his eagerness for quick success. Now he just wanted the Sheng family to return to peace. On the other hand, in Europe, with Gu Ziling's reminder, Sheng Kai finally contacted the eldest young master of the Tiffany family. The eldest young master thought that it was Sheng Bowen, so he invited Sheng Kai to his manor. Sheng Kai thought that he had a chance to turn things around, so he relaxed a lot. But when he arrived at the manor, the eldest young master was stunned. Because the person who came was not Sheng Bowen. Sheng Kai saw that the eldest young master's expression was not right, so he quickly reached out to him. But the eldest young master said to him, "I know you. The person I want to see is your brother." Sheng Kai's face darkened. He said in perfect English, "My brother did not come. He asked me to come and see you." "Impossible. You are in cahoots with my brother. If you did not support my brother, he would not have won the position of the CEO of Tiffany & Company. You are the one who helped him. How dare you come to my house?" The eldest young master of Tiffany & Co. glared at Sheng Kai. "I know why you are here, but I will not give you an answer without seeing Bowen." Sheng Kai felt even worse when he heard this. Bowen is not qualified to represent Huang Yao. Chapter 547. The other party's attitude was very firm, so Sheng Kai could not force him. However, he now knew one very important thing, and that was whether he could successfully overcome this difficulty. This time depended on Sheng Bowen. But would Sheng Bowen help him unconditionally? Now the board of directors had a lot of opinions about him. If he could not successfully handle this project, he could forget about being the CEO of Huang Yao. However, if he let third brother take the credit, it would be disadvantageous to his position as the CEO. So, he could only think of a way to get the best of both worlds. Fortunately, he still had a plan. Perhaps this incident was not only a crisis for him, but also a turning point for him. The Criminal Police Bureau was currently screening the major suspects who had the characteristics that Tang Yin had mentioned earlier. Actually, there was one. It was the cousin of the deceased's two brothers. He was about 38 years old, and his name was Liao Xing. He lived a hard life and relied on recycling to support his family. After receiving the information, the team immediately arrested the man and interrogated him. The members of the criminal investigation team all thought that the case would be solved soon. However, when Tang Yin observed Liao Xing carefully, he felt that something was not right. "Liao Xing, explain yourself. Why did you appear at the crime scene?" Liao Xing thought for a moment and answered the police. "Before the two brothers died, they called me and asked me to go over to collect the trash. Who knew that when I went over, all four of them were dead? I wasn't sure if they were still breathing, so I looked at them one by one. Later, I found a place to call the police, and that police call was made by me. I don't have a cell phone, so I used a public phone. That was why Liao Xing's footprints and blood were left at the crime scene. Can anyone prove it? You can ask my wife. There is a call record on the landline at home. This person is not the murderer." The police came to this conclusion after interrogating Liao Xing. It seems that the murderer did not only create the illusion that the deceased committed suicide to escape punishment, but also implicated another person. "That person is Liao Xing," the professor said to Tang Yin. "So, you are going in the wrong direction. Wait, even if Liao Xing entered the crime scene, there should be two footprints. But why did Liao Xing only have footprints of entering and not coming out?" Tang Yin brought up the key information. "It seems that I have to interrogate Liao Xing again." Soon, Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan arrived at the forensics lab. After knowing that the police had gained so much in one day, they quickly understood the case. Moreover, Mu Qiqi offered her own opinion. "I feel like we've overlooked a very important piece of information. The hotel itself is being renovated. Why is it being renovated? Is it related to that?" "It's said that it's related to gambling and that white stuff," the police replied. "If it involves these two things, does the hotel have any special services, such as secret doors or escape routes that others don't know about?" After listening to Mu Qiqi's words, Feng Shanshan stared at her. You know this too? I really couldn't tell that you're such a rich young lady. I've seen a lot of cases, but that's just my guess. Besides, this murderer also knows Liao Xing, so he must be someone familiar with the 4 victims. I think if the hotel really has these facilities, then the murderer knows about them and uses them to deceive others. I'll ask the team to visit the neighbors and carefully check every corner of the hotel, the captain of the criminal investigation team said. As for Liao Xing's side, I'll inform everyone as soon as there's a result. This murderer is not only vicious, but also smart. Of course, Qiqi, you're smarter than him. The captain of the criminal investigation team praised her. All right, it's getting late. You and Shanshan should go back and rest. Aren't you a student? Don't delay your studies. I won't be responsible if you fail. More importantly, your family's car has been parked at the entrance for a while. Mu Qiqi looked out of the door and blushed. Then I'll leave first. When the professor saw Mu Qiqi leaving, he leaned on Tang Yan's shoulder. Send Shanshan home. I still have some doubts. I want to stay here. Tang Yan refused without thinking. The whites of the professor's eyes almost rolled to the sky. Won't you be able to solve your doubts if you send her home? If I were your mother, I would be very worried. How are you going to find a girlfriend like this? Tang Yan turned around and looked at Feng Shanshan. But Feng Shanshan did not count on him. She walked out of the police station and planned to exercise again. However, the weather was bad tonight. It was not safe for a girl to be out alone. So, Tang Yan did not hesitate. He went straight to the parking lot and drove his off-road vehicle out. Feng Shanshan did not expect Tang Yan to catch up with her. She was obviously dismissive. I don't want to trouble you, Officer Tang. Come on. Don't waste each other's time. I can go home myself. Feng Shanshan was very stubborn. She did not want to have anything to do with Tang Yan. But at this moment, Tang Yan suddenly stopped the car and got out of the car at lightning speed. He carried Feng Shanshan on his shoulder and threw her on the passenger seat of the off-road vehicle. Being stubborn is not a woman's strength. Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. Officer Tang, do you know how many times I've rolled my eyes at the sky after you came? Just don't do it in front of me. Feng Shanshan was speechless. Actually, Officer Tang, you really don't have to force yourself. I'm not forcing myself. It's nothing. Feng Shanshan was angry. She decided to stop talking. But Tang Yan did not start the car either. They stared at each other. After a while, Feng Shanshan said, Are you planning to spend the new year here? If you don't tell me the address, I can only drive to my house. Feng Shanshan felt that she must have been influenced by people with low EQ for too long. Otherwise, why would she be so stupid with Tang Yan? Then, Feng Shanshan told him the address and closed her eyes to rest. She did not think that she would have the time to argue with this idiot after a long day. Actually, Mu Qiqi and Sheng Zhao's car was behind them. Mu Qiqi saw with her own eyes that Tang Yan carried Feng Shanshan on his shoulder. These two obviously have a chance. But Officer Tang's EQ is really too low. Chapter 548. I'm innocent. After all, I'm only looking at this matter as the Moon Elder. Mu Qiqi quickly raised her hand and swore. Feng Shanshan used to be annoying, but after you get to know her, you realize that she's not that bad. No, it's that she's so bad that you can't hate her at all. If she dares to lead you astray, I'll cripple her too. Mu Qiqi couldn't help but laugh. She leaned on Sheng Zhao's chest and asked, But why do I feel that I'm bad enough? After all, I've turned my uncle into my husband. Sheng Zhao hugged the threatening little thing. He really wanted to pin her down on the bed and teach her a lesson. Of course, when the time was right, Sheng Zhao would take the initiative to find out what kind of murder cases had happened in the police station. Because his mind would calculate if those cases would affect Mu Qiqi's safety. As for tracking down the criminals, that was his little thing's interest. The next afternoon, Sheng Kai suddenly returned to Jianchuan after going to Europe. He requested for a temporary board meeting and asked Grandpa Sheng and third brother to attend. He said that he had found a way to solve the Tiffany and Company's crime. Grandpa Sheng didn't know what trick he was playing now. Before he went to Huang Yao's board meeting, he asked his lawyer to send a copy of the will to Sheng Xiao. However, Sheng Xiao frowned when he received the document. But Grandpa Sheng's lawyer told him, I hope that 8th young master can keep this document safe. You don't have to open it now. It might be of great use at a critical moment. All right, go back and report, Sheng Xiao said to the lawyer. Then I'll leave first. You go ahead. As smart as Sheng Xiao was, how could he not know what was in the document? That would be underestimating him. Grandpa Sheng was extremely distrustful of second brother now. So, he gave this to Sheng Xiao in the hope that he could stabilize the Sheng family. That old thing was clearly going to live to 100 years old. Still, it was a blessing for third brother to have this document in his hand. He used to think that Sheng Bowen's character was not suitable for business or investment. But now that he thought about it, his generous character might be useful. Soon, the group rushed to the conference room of Huang Yao. At that moment, Grandpa Sheng and third brother had no idea what Sheng Kai was up to. The only thing they knew was that it was definitely not something good. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Huang Yao's interim shareholders meeting was held smoothly. On the other hand, Sheng Kai, who had just returned from abroad, was not as anxious as when he left. He looked at the company's shareholders, Grandpa Sheng and Sheng Bowen. Chief Sheng, I wonder if your promise of a week still counts. Also, what progress have you made in the past? Don't keep me guessing anymore. Of course, if I didn't go there, I wouldn't have known that my good third brother has always been in close contact with the Tiffany family. So, I think it won't be a problem for Huang Yao and Tiffany to continue working together. What do you think, third brother? Sheng Bowen felt uncomfortable when he was called out. What did she mean by he was close to the Tiffany family? Don't you think it's too much to fight for power with me? Sheng Bowen did not understand why Sheng Kai was blamed on him. How am I too much? It's been a few days since it happened. Since you have such a deep relationship with the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company, why did you watch me being put in a difficult position by the board of directors? Why didn't you help me to stabilize the situation in Huang Yao? Can't everyone understand what you are trying to do? You just want to see the board of directors fire me. Then, you will immediately come up with a solution to the problem and win the support of the board of directors. What do you think? Am I right? After hearing Sheng Kai's words, Sheng Bowen finally understood his second brother's intentions. He had gone to the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company, so he came back to make a scene. I have always been against you working with Tiffany and Company. How many times have we quarreled publicly and privately? Is it my fault that you insist on expanding the investment? I know there is a problem with Tiffany and Company. That's why I built a good relationship with the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company. This is to prevent Huang Yao from falling into such a problem. I am just a deputy CEO. What right and identity do I have to go against you? I just hope that if Huang Yao is really in danger one day, there might be a way out. A way out? Sheng Kai sneered. If it is as you said, why is the other party unwilling to see me? Moreover, if you are really so kind, why didn't you stand up and explain the matter when it happened? That's because I am not confident that I can convince the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company. I am not like you. I will not make empty promises if I can't do it. The reason why the other party is unwilling to see you is that when he and his brother were fighting for the position of the chairman, your cooperation helped his brother to win. Why would he want to see you? Hearing the quarrel between the two brothers, the shareholders finally understood what was going on. It turned out that the key to solving all this was Sheng Bowen. However, the two brothers were suspicious of each other. You are saying it in hindsight. That sounds nice. Anyway, Sheng Kai just wanted to make himself look dignified. If he was not wrong in anything, then he was right. Sheng Bowen took a deep breath. He really could not be bothered to talk to him. At this time, Grandpa Sheng, who had been silent for a long time, said, Sheng Kai stubbornly made a false risk assessment report. The root cause is him. Of course, I encouraged him. So, I am also at fault. That day, when I fainted at the board meeting, it was third brother who took care of me in the hospital. He immediately told me about the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company. He had a way to save Huang Yao at the critical moment. Before this, the two brothers were quarreling at home. The third brother wanted the second brother to withdraw his investment, But the second brother refused to do so no matter what. Of course, I gave the power to second brother. I convinced myself to believe in second brother's judgment. So, I sided with second brother, and overruled third brother again and again. But I did not expect things to develop like this. There's nothing we can do about third bro, so we secretly set up a connection. And in the 2 days he was in the hospital, he was also contacting the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company. But the eldest young master was worried about the hatred between him and second brother, so he did not give in. Now that second brother has returned to the country, he could not think of any solution. Instead, he started to attack third brother who had worked so hard. You are not just letting down the trust of the board of directors. Chapter 549. Sheng Kai looked at Grandpa Sheng in disbelief. Grandpa, you are the one who agreed to the Tiffany and Company project. Now that there is a problem, how can you blame it on me alone? Isn't it more important to get through this hurdle as soon as possible? I know you resent me for not being by your side to take care of you these 2 days. It was third brother who was taking care of you. But if I was by your side, who would know about the situation in Europe? You always have a lot of reasons. Grandpa Sheng stomped on the ground with his walking stick. Also, I don't resent you. I'm not on third brother's side because he took care of me. It's just that I've suddenly seen through many things. Grandpa. Third brother. Go to Europe immediately and look for the eldest young master of the Tiffany family. See if there is any way to salvage this matter. As for second brother, if the shareholders think that he is no longer suitable to be the CEO of Huang Yao, then you can express your opinion. Grandpa Sheng said calmly. Grandpa, you can't be so cruel to me. It's not fair. You're the one who caused this. Now third brother is cleaning up your mess. You should understand this. Grandpa Sheng waved his hand to stop Sheng Kai from continuing. Everything depends on the decision of the board of directors. I suggest that we suspend CEO Sheng and let the deputy CEO take over temporarily. Let's see how capable third young master is before making a decision. I agree. The shareholders scrambled to express their opinions. Have you forgotten the progress I brought to Huang Yao in the first half of the year? It's just a mistake. Is it necessary for you to hold on to it? Sheng Kai was furious. He slammed the table and questioned the shareholders. Why don't you think about it? When Sheng Xiao left, he left such a big mess. If I didn't clean it up, would Huang Yao be where it is now? Now you doubt my ability just because of a contract worth 10 billion? Isn't this too funny? The shareholders knew Sheng Kai's ability, but they also knew his ambition. Indeed, we have seen your contribution to Huang Yao in the first half of the year. But in the last 2 months, haven't you noticed the changes in yourself? You always get rid of dissidents. You should know very well how many times you have caused trouble for third young master in the dark. Not only do we need an outstanding leader, but we also hope that the person who leads us forward has a big heart. If you want to dismiss me, just say so. There's no need to come up with so many excuses. Sheng Kai sneered. Third brother, what do you think? Sheng Kai thought that third brother would admit that he did not have the talent and withdraw from the competition. But Sheng Bowen said directly, Grandpa, I don't need to go abroad because Charney is preparing to visit Jianchuan. As an outstanding entrepreneur, he will try his best to discuss this matter with Huang Yao without any personal grudges. When was it confirmed? Just now. Sheng Bowen took out his phone and showed the message to Grandpa Sheng. As for the position of president and vice president, we'll talk about it after this matter is resolved. What he meant was that he did not refuse. He was just afraid that Sheng Kai would do something if he took over the position now. He did not want to be plotted against by Sheng Kai before he even became the CEO. Well done, third brother. You ganged up to bully others. Not bad. Having said that, Sheng Kai walked out of Huang Yao's office. Third brother, you can handle the rest. I don't care. It's all right, third young master. We will try our best to help you. The shareholders immediately said. Well, if that's the case, we'll talk when Charney arrives at Jianchuan. Sheng Bowen said to the shareholders. Let me say this first. Since this matter has come to this, I am not confident that I can turn things around. I can only say that I will try my best, but I dare not say that I will be absolutely sure. Just do your best, Grandpa Sheng said to third brother. If that's the case, everyone is dismissed. The shareholders nodded and left the meeting room one after another. However, Grandpa Sheng did not move. Instead, he looked at third brother. You were not interested in these things before. Why do you want to go against your second brother now? To be honest, Grandpa, fighting for power has never been my hobby. However, Xiao Ran and I also want to live a normal life. During this period of time, you have seen how second brother and his wife have been suppressing us. I have no intention to fight with him, but he doesn't seem to think so. He thinks that my existence is a great threat to him. Apart from me being the reason, he also thinks that I am colluding with eighth brother. I can drag him down from the position of CEO at any time. I don't want to let him down anymore. Grandpa Sheng patted third brother's shoulder. Since you want to do it, then do it. You are different from second brother and eighth brother. You are born to be more merciful. That's why I didn't think highly of you before. The business world is like a battlefield. That's why I always have eighth brother in my heart, because he can attack and defend at the same time. But I don't think I should underestimate you. Do it well. Third brother nodded. It was rare for him and Grandpa Sheng to have a peaceful conversation like this. In the past, Grandpa Sheng would explode whenever he mentioned Sheng Xiao. Now it was obvious that he had overcome that hurdle in his heart, because he knew that if he continued to be the same as before, Huang Yao would definitely continue to have internal conflicts. There would be countless scenes of brothers killing each other. But second brother, you don't have to worry about it. I will handle it, Grandpa Sheng said to third brother. He did not even need to think about how Sheng Kai would react. If he succeeded and won, he would constantly remind himself that he must not let Sheng Xiao take away all the credit. But if he failed and suffered a setback, he would always blame Sheng Xiao. Why did Sheng Xiao leave this mess to him? Why did Sheng Xiao have to make him suffer so much? Although he had been very successful in the past 8 to 9 months, he had also become more selfish. Of course, Gu Ziling's contribution was also part of it. Soon Zhongting's office received the news. Sheng Kai has been temporarily dismissed by the board of directors. The news has spread. Sheng Xiao did not raise his head when he heard Su Chei's words. He only said, "It will happen sooner or later. Even if it is not because of the Tiffany and Company's cooperation, he will be dismissed for other reasons. But it has been more than half a year. His arrogance have been triggered. He will not let it go just like that. But isn't it very dangerous for him to be with third young master?" Chapter 550. When Sheng Kai came home in the middle of the afternoon, Gu Ziling knew that he did not have a good time at the board meeting. But she did not expect that the board of directors would suspend him. And Grandpa Sheng, who had always been on his side, did not stand on his side this time. Perhaps it was because of the incident when Grandpa Sheng was hospitalized 2 days ago. They had exposed too much in front of Grandpa Sheng, which made him feel disgusted. And it was only a matter of time before people's hearts turned against each other. Gu Ziling saw that Sheng Kai stayed in his study the moment he came home, so she let him calm down. But she could still hear the sound of something smashing in the study from time to time. How useless! He was being bullied by others, but he could not fight back at all. Later, Grandpa Sheng and Sheng Bowen came home together. They saw Gu Ziling in the living room. When their eyes met, Gu Ziling did not avoid them. She calmed herself down. Grandpa and third brother are back. Where is second brother? He is in the study, Gu Ziling answered. Maybe he is in a bad mood. He will be fine when he thinks it through. In that case, you should stay at home and accompany him for the time being. He does not need to interfere with the company's affairs for the time being. Having said that, Grandpa Sheng turned to Sheng Bowen. Come to my study. Yes, Grandpa. Gu Ziling knew that the old thing could turn hostile faster than flipping a page, which was why there was no need to be calculative with him now. When the power of Huang Yao was completely in her and her husband's hands, she would come and settle the scores with the Sheng family one by one. It was dinner time. Sheng Kai did not come out for dinner. Gu Ziling was facing everyone in the Sheng family alone. Unexpectedly, Hu Ran's stepmother called her at that moment. Sorry, I need to take a call. Gu Xiling took her phone and went to the garden. Then she heard the woman's voice. Xiling, are you free these days? Can we meet for a chat? Mrs. Hu, do you have something to share? We will know when we meet. I heard that you and second young master are not in a good situation in the Sheng family recently. We are friends. Of course, I have to help you. See you tomorrow, Gu Xiling replied. Now, no matter what, she had to think of a way to separate third brother and his wife. Otherwise, with the Hu family supporting third brother, wouldn't he have to be above Sheng Kai in the future? After dinner in the bridal chamber, Hu Ran looked at Sheng Bowen, who had just finished washing up. She patted the seat beside her and said to him, Third brother, now that you are in power, second brother and second sister-in-law will definitely see you as a thorn in their side. Do you have any way to deal with it? Sheng Bowen looked at her and shook his head. Grandpa said that this is the difference between me and eighth brother. If it were eighth brother, he would definitely be able to guess what the other party would plan and take precautions. But I can't. I can only take one step at a time. Hu Ran knew that he was a straightforward person, so she also laughed. You, perhaps a foolish person, has a foolish fortune. You may be in a lot of danger if you follow me, Sheng Bowen said helplessly. But don't be afraid. I will do my best to protect you. Yes, I'm not afraid. Hu Ran nodded. Go to sleep. From tomorrow onwards, you will be busier. Banyan Courtyard. This was the name that Mama Sheng gave to Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao on the day they registered. At this moment, Mu Qiqi dragged her tired body into the house. She saw Sheng Xiao sitting on the sofa, working while waiting for her. She squinted her eyes and lay on Sheng Xiao's lap shamelessly. Hubby. Sheng Xiao lowered his head and looked at the person on his lap. He laughed mockingly. If you need my help, just say it. Help me find an expert who is as skilled as Su Che, Mu Qiqi said with her big eyes. What are you going to do tomorrow? The police found the basement of the hotel. Shan Shan and I will go down tomorrow. But we don't know what dangers there are down there. Sheng Xiao turned Mu Qiqi's body over and gave her a good spanking. Just report it. You don't have to be so cunning. I'm just afraid that you won't let me go down. Look at how self-aware I am. I can't wait until something happens before I report to you. The man who just went to your team is as skilled as Su Che. Really? National martial arts champion, kickboxing champion. It turned out that this man had already done his research. Then I'm not worried. Sheng Xiao looked at the back of Mu Qiqi's head. The little one was not worried about herself. She was just afraid that Sheng Xiao would not agree. I'll give you a day of investigation on Saturday. I've arranged for you to learn self-defense during the weekend. You have to learn how to escape no matter how many experts there are around you. Got it? Mu Qiqi felt at ease after being hit. She climbed up from Sheng Xiao's lap and continued dragging her heavy body upstairs to the bedroom. Sheng Xiao put away the documents and looked at the little one, the corners of his lips curling up. It was a good thing that she knew to report to him. After their shower, they lay on their respective beds. Mu Qiqi could barely keep her eyes open, but she still asked Sheng Xiao, How's third brother? Just sleep if you're tired. Don't talk so much. Sheng Xiao pressed her head against his chest. No, I want to know. I want to know everything about you and your family. Otherwise, I won't be able to keep up with your family's conversation. Mu Qiqi's voice gradually softened. Sheng Xiao smiled when he saw that she had fallen asleep. Even if I tell you now, you would still forget it tomorrow. Mu Qiqi slept soundly in his warm embrace until dawn. Early next morning, Mu Qiqi received a call from the professor. The police had found a passageway to the basement last night, and it turned out that there was a huge underground casino hidden in the entire hotel. There was a sturdy iron door down the passageway. It was locked and covered in dust, as if no one had gone in for a long time. Even so, there was a foul stench coming from inside. It was clearly the stench of a corpse. And it was not just any other kind of stench. The additional police arrived at the scene early in the morning. The police unlocked the door, but they could not find where the corpse was hidden. That was why the captain informed the forensics team to be in position immediately. The professor led Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan into the spacious basement. The entire place was half the size of the hotel lobby, but there was only one window and a bar counter. There were 4 stone pillars in the middle of the room, and there was a washroom on the left. The entire place was filled with the stench of corpses, but no one could find where the corpse was hidden. Mu Chichi turned her gaze towards the washroom where the stench was thickest. Both the professor and Feng Shanshan noticed it too. Chapter 551. The bathroom was very simple. There was a sink, a squatting toilet, and a shower. The body is inside. Tang Yin glanced at it and turned to the professor. It's time for you forensic doctors to take action. The bathroom was not big and could only accommodate about 3 people. The professor brought Mu Chichi and Feng Shanshan into the shower. The body was highly decomposed, and the giant appearance had begun to fade. The body was curled up in the shower in a sideways position. Obviously, someone put it in after the death. The deceased is a male between 60 and 65 years old. There are obvious strangulation marks on his neck and visible damage on his body. There are clothes fibers or skin flakes under his fingernails. There are no other injuries on other parts of his body. After eliminating the possibility of poisoning, we can basically confirm that he was strangled to death. I didn't expect that there would be another case involved, but it doesn't seem difficult to investigate. The secret passage in the bathroom above the hotel leads directly to the underground casino. The murderer knows this place and may have hidden here. But when did he leave in the end? Feng Shanshan raised a question, but soon they began to feel numb, because in order not to leave his own footprints, the murderer must have waited for the police to come before leaving. Because everyone thought that the murderer would leave his footprints before leaving, but no one would have thought that he would hide in this basement and wait for the police to leave before leaving. Now that there were so many police officers entering the hotel every day, how could they find the murderer's tracks? He's too cunning. Let's find the murderer first. There is evidence left under the victim's fingernails. It should not be difficult to investigate. Maybe there is a connection between the 2 cases. The professor stood up and said to everyone, "Let's go back and test it first." "I have a bold idea," Mu Chichi said to the professor. At this time, Tang Yin also said to everyone, "Compare the DNA of these skin flakes with the 4 victims above." That's right. Mu Chichi had the same idea. If it was really as they expected, then it was very likely that it was a vendetta. Then the murderer must be related to the victims. Okay. If that's the case, let's act quickly. Now that they had a breakthrough, everyone was pumped up. The police were confirming the identity of the deceased. But at this time, Tang Yin had a new question. Since there is no exit in the basement, and he could only hide, how did Liao Xing get out? Everyone seemed to have fallen into this mystery. He said that after he saw the bodies, he was knocked unconscious. When he woke up, he was already outside. Our colleagues have also examined him. There is indeed a wound on his head. No, there is something wrong with his logic. Before we came in, the murderer was hiding in the basement. If Liao Xing was knocked out by the murderer, he would have been sent away immediately. It is impossible that we did not find the murderer's tracks. But if Liao Xing waited for us to arrive before he was sent out by the murderer, who called the police? This doesn't make sense at all. So he must be lying. You have to retry him. Previously, we ruled out Liao Xing as a suspect because we thought there was an exit in the basement and both he and the murderer could leave. However, since there is no exit in the basement, he must be lying. After Tang Yin finished speaking, the results of the DNA comparison were out. This skin tissue belongs to the elder brother, Liao Sheng. You've guessed correctly. However, there's something even more shocking. This deceased is Liao Xing's biological father, who is also the biological uncle of the deceased brothers. In that case, was there still a need to continue investigating? The result was obvious. Because there was substantial evidence, Liao Xing confessed in the end. But what was different from the police's speculation was that he did not kill the 4 people to avenge his father, because he did not know that his father had died in the basement. He had killed those 4 people because the 2 brothers had taken pity on him every day and allowed him to come over to earn tips. However, they had humiliated him, mocked him, and even called him incomparably ugly, neither human nor ghost. Liao Xing had long wanted to kill them. He had imagined it thousands of times in his heart. That morning, The two brothers asked Liao Xing to go and earn tips again. But Liao Xing took the opportunity to meet his wife. When Liao Xing found out about it, he could not hold it in anymore. So he put the plan on the agenda. In the evening, he carried an axe and killed the two men. After that, he hid in the basement and only left after the police left. And the so-called call to the police was made by someone else. He lied that it was him to eliminate his suspicion. Do you know that your father died in the basement? The murderer is Liao Xing. Liao Xing was shocked at first, but then he laughed. This is retribution. This is what the two brothers deserve. Liao Xing, you will eventually be punished by the law. This is at most a crime of passion. If I had more time, I would definitely be able to make it so that the police will not find any traces. But the two brothers are really hateful. I can't help it. Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan felt bad when they saw the murderer's ferocious side. That's why I said that the living are the scariest. The case is solved. I'll treat everyone to afternoon tea. The captain of the criminal investigation team said to everyone. But Tang Yin did not fit in. You guys go ahead. I don't need it. Boring soul. Feng Shanshan could not help but say to Tang Yin with her back facing him. That's not it. He is going to help me make something in the afternoon. The professor said to Feng Shanshan. You guys go ahead. I won't go. Mu Qiqi looked at Tang Yan's back as he left. She could not help but lean on Feng Shanshan's shoulder. Actually, he is quite capable. Moreover, the one in my family said that he is the national martial arts champion and kickboxing champion. But his EQ is so low. Feng Shanshan shook her head. I really suspect that this kind of person will never get married. Even if he does get married, there must be something wrong with his wife. If you don't care about him, why did you say so much? Mu Qiqi said and turned her face. Besides, you have talked so much about him behind his back. Isn't it enough? Not far away from them, the professor smiled helplessly and said to Tang Yin, Can't you be a little gentler to girls? When will I see you with a girlfriend? I think women are troublesome, especially Feng Shanshan. Why her? She has a lot of demands. Tang Yin said coldly, and turned to enter the forensics laboratory. Chapter 552. In the afternoon, Gu Xiling and Hu Rant's stepmother agreed to meet at a cafe. When they saw each other's eyes, they knew that they were going to work together again. You called me. What's the matter? Tell me. I found out that Hu Ran, that little bitch, has extended her claws into the entertainment industry. My friend told me that she and your third young master are investigating me. Are they tired of living? I think Hu Ran is tired of living. How do you want to deal with her? Gu Xiling asked Mrs. Hu. Don't forget that she has regained her sanity. She is not so easy to deceive. That girl is like a basin of clear water. She has never been stirred. How would she know how deep the water in the entertainment industry is? I can ask my friend to help me teach her a lesson. I could have done it alone, but I thought of the situation you and second young master are in now. So, I want to ask you if there is anything I can help you with. Gu Xiling laughed when she heard this. Of course. The eldest young master of Tiffany and Company is coming, and third young master is going to meet him. If you can control Hu Ran, you can control third young master. Then, he will not be able to cooperate with Tiffany and Company anymore. Mrs. Hu, I will be very grateful if you can give me such a big gift. What are you talking about? Mrs. Hu said. Give me an exact time so that I can arrange it. No problem. I will contact you again when I go back. Now the group of old guys in Huang Yao had placed all their hopes on Sheng Bowen. Well, in that case, she would make Sheng Bowen look bad. She wanted to see if Sheng Bowen could still remain indifferent when he found out that something had happened to Hu Ran. Gu Xiling thought that Sheng Bowen would not be able to turn the situation around. But unexpectedly, Hu Ran's stepmother appeared. Man proposes, God disposes. At the police station, they had just sat down to drink tea when they received another call. This time, it involved a female star in the entertainment industry. Qiqi and Shanshan are here. It will be convenient for me to bring you out. When the captain of the criminal investigation team heard this, he immediately laughed. I think the two of you shouldn't go to university. Just stay here and help your professors. This way, It will be faster than going to any university. You're talking nonsense again. You should know what Chi-Chi's family does. A diploma is equally important to her. The professor waved his hand. Besides, they should have a wider sky. What's the matter with me? The group of people chatted and laughed as they went out again. Tang Yin rode his motorcycle and followed behind. In Mu Chi-Chi's eyes, Tang Yan's motorcycle was quite flashy. It did not match his temperament at all. Soon the group arrived at the crime scene, the Dolphin Bay Villa. The deceased was the owner of this villa. She was also a senior actress in the entertainment industry. Her name was Shen Qing. The deceased died at the top of the stairs on the first floor. There were many soft tissue contusions on his body, which should have been caused when he rolled down the stairs. However, the specific cause of death can only be known after your forensic examination. The policeman who had arrived earlier said to the professor and the others. The dead body was discovered by the assistant. There was no shooting this morning, and Shen Qing was resting at home, so the assistant didn't disturb her. However, when it was time to shoot, Shen Qing still hadn't appeared. The assistant couldn't get through to her, so she came to look for her. Only then did she realize that she was already dead at home. This should be an accident, right? The professor squatted down and looked at the body. He shook his head. Don't jump to conclusions so early. Why is there so much blood when she rolled down the stairs? Mu Chi-Chi looked at the bloodstains beside Shen Qing's body. I suspect that there is internal bleeding in her abdomen. We can only know this after the autopsy. From the looks of it, the injury from rolling down the stairs is not fatal. Tisk tsk. Such a beautiful actress. It's such a pity that she died just like that. I'm still her fan. A policeman at the side. At this time, the leader of the criminal investigation team began to assign tasks. There was no doubt about the identity of the deceased. Professor, what's the time of her death? Between 1 and 3 o'clock last night, Mu Chi-Chi answered. The professor smiled and nodded. Yes, that's the time. So, they had to go to the property management to get the surveillance cameras to confirm who entered and left the villa during that period. In addition, they had to start interrogating Shen Qing's social relations. You have to be careful. This case involves the entertainment industry, so it will definitely attract a lot of attention. You must be careful of your words and actions. Don't leak it out so that the murderer can get any useful information. Soon the police got the surveillance cameras. From the surveillance cameras, it showed that 3 people appeared in Shen Qing's villa between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And one of them was the paparazzi that Hu Ran and Sheng Bowen had been looking for recently. This paparazzi was greedy and had blackmailed many people in the entertainment industry. More importantly, this paparazzi was Hu Ran's stepmother's good friend. And this time, she set up a trap to hire this paparazzi, but she did not expect him to be involved in a murder case. Chi-Chi, whether it's a rich family or the entertainment industry, I hope that you can help if we really need public relations. I will try my best, Mu Chi-Chi answered. When they carried the body back to the forensics laboratory, the entrance was full of media. Moreover, Mu Chi-Chi was a famous person in the first place, so the media naturally surrounded her. Seeing this, Feng Shanshan smiled at her. Your mission is here. Miss Mu, can you tell us if Shen Qing is really dead? How did she die? Was it a crime of passion or revenge? Did Huang Fu get someone to do it? Hearing this, Mu Chi-Chi was confused. Who is Huang Fu? Because of the TV series Love as Deep as the Sea, Huang Fu and Shen Qing fought for the female lead role. It must be Huang Fu, right? Mu Chi-Chi extracted the information and said to them, the police will solve the case as soon as possible. Don't make wild guesses and hurt others. Miss Mu, can you tell us more information? I'm just a forensic doctor. I can't reveal anything related to the case. I'm sorry. Miss Mu. Everyone rushed forward. At this time, Mu Chi-Chi lost her temper and directly said to the media, you want to see Zhongting's lawyer, right? Everyone quickly took a step back. You just want to see the world in chaos. Soon, the secretary showed the part where Mu Chi-Chi appeared on the news to Sheng Xiao. Chief Sheng, this is the video of Madam's interview. This thing is more famous than me recently. Sheng Xiao slowly smiled. Find a few suitable people and send it to her when she wants it. You must have experience in stopping the media. Chapter 553. The eldest young master of Tiffany and Company had already boarded the plane. He would arrive in Jianchuan in 10 hours. So, Gu Xiling called Hu Ran's stepmother when no one was around. He will arrive tonight. How are your preparations? Hu Ran's stepmother did not know that her friend had been targeted by the police. She said, I will call him later. I will lure Hu Ran out tonight. Don't worry. Then I will wait for your confirmation, said Gu Xiling. After the call, Gu Xiling looked around to make sure that no one in the Sheng family saw her. Then she went back to the living room. However, Hu Ran, who was in the room, had seen her sneaky behavior clearly, because the location of the new house was facing the Sheng family's lawn. Although Hu Ran did not know what Gu Xiling was planning, she reminded Sheng Bowen. I saw second sister-in-law making a phone call in the lawn. You must be careful when you pick up the eldest young master of the Tiffany and Company today. I am afraid that this woman will do something bad again. Don't worry, Xiaoran. Actually, the eldest young master of the Tiffany and Company has arrived in Jianchuan. He boarded the plane yesterday, said Sheng Bowen. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I was worried too. You don't know either. That's why they did not notice anything. Sheng Bowen explained. Xiaoran, you won't blame me, right? Why should I blame you? You did a good job. She had thought that Sheng Bowen was a straightforward person who did not know how to beat around the bush. In fact, he knew how to be flexible at times like this. That was fine. Then, no matter what tricks Sheng Kai and his wife wanted to play, they would not be able to do anything. As for Hu Ran's stepmother, she immediately called her friend. Xiao Chui, can you spare some time to do something for me? Madam, I am running for my life now. What can I do? The police are looking for me everywhere. Don't call me anymore. After that, the other party hung up. Mrs. Hu frowned and looked at the phone. Suddenly she understood. Was it because of Xinqing's death? But if Xiao Chui was arrested, wouldn't the fact that she had hired assassins to kill people in the past be dug out? Thinking of this, Mrs. Hu suddenly panicked. No, she had to stop Chui from running away. However, when the police were looking for someone, they would not be as gentle as Hu Ran and Sheng Bowen. To find this cunning paparazzi, they did not need to go through such complicated steps. Since he was a major suspect, the police acted quickly. Even though the paparazzi knew how to disguise himself, they still caught him in the act. Mr. Chui, why are you hiding? Hurry up and come with us. No, Uncle Police, I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you looking for me? Why did you run if you didn't commit any crime? If you have anything to say, come back with us to the police station first. Therefore, within a few hours, the paparazzi was brought back to the police station. At this moment, the other suspect was being interrogated. She was Xinqing's best friend, a designer. Last night, she received a call from Xinqing and came over to chat with her. However, she received a call from her husband saying that their son had a fever, so she hurried back. The police had collected her fingerprints and DNA, but she was less suspicious than the paparazzi, because she was the first person to enter the villa and left 20 minutes later. There was a man who came in the middle of the night, and they were still verifying his identity. The last person was the paparazzi. If Xinqing had died before this, why didn't the other two people call the police? Of course, there were still a lot of doubts in the case. They could not conclude who the murderer was yet. The designer cooperated with the investigation and soon left the police station. At this time, it was the paparazzi's turn. After entering the interrogation room, the paparazzi began to panic. Uncle Police, I know a lot of gossip in the entertainment industry. Do you want me to tell you? Don't talk nonsense. Just tell me, why did you go to Xinqing's house between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday? Officer, in our line of work, we have to abide by our professional ethics. We can't disclose the privacy of our guests. You probably don't know the seriousness of this matter. Xinqing died between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning last night. During this time, you were the last person she saw. You could say that she died after you left. Are you still not going to tell us the truth? This is a human life. Are you sure you can bear the responsibility? When the paparazzi heard this, he panicked and said, "Officer, I know that in your line of work, you hide all day long just to dig into the private lives of celebrities and then scam them. These are all ill-gotten gains. You know very well that, even if you don't tell us, we can still find out. It's just a matter of time. Think about it yourself." The paparazzi was so scared that he cried, "Officer, I'm just a little paparazzi. I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything. This is what happened. Xinqing and Huang Fu have always been competitors. I got news from Huang Fu that Xinqing had an illicit relationship with a married man. So, she asked me to keep an eye on Xinqing. Last night, I was outside Xinqing's villa. At about 1:30, I saw Xinqing's best friend go to the villa and came out not long after. At about 2 o'clock, a man wearing a black hat also went to the villa at Dolphin Bay. I took a lot of photos, but after 20 minutes, the man also left. I saw the door of the villa open, so I went in with the photos. I wanted to discuss some business with Xinqing. Then I saw Xinqing sitting on the sofa drinking. She ignored me. I told her that I took photos of the man, but she arrogantly asked me to release the photos. I thought that since she was not afraid of threats, I couldn't stay there any longer. So I turned around and left. That's the whole story, officer. Outside the interrogation room, several people were watching the whole process. However, no one believed the paparazzi's words. This man is like a stinky rat in the entertainment industry. Everyone wants to beat him up. And the dirty things he does behind the scenes are unimaginable. Not only that, because of his profession, he is cunning by nature. If we want to get information from him, we need to use some tricks. Muchichi also said, he thinks that he is experienced and knowledgeable. He can even survive in the dirty entertainment industry, let alone deal with the police. Based on what he said just now, I only believe one thing. That is, he was squatting outside Xinqing's villa. Since he said that he was taking photos of Xinqing, he must be able to get the photos and videos of the man in the hat. Chapter 554. Since the paparazzi was arrested and sent to the police station, Hu Ran's stepmother's matter could not be carried out. Of course, her cooperation with Gu Xiling would not be counted. However, Gu Xiling waited for Hu Ran at home, but Hu Ran did not leave. Why was Hu Ran still at home when the person in charge of Tiffany and Company was about to arrive? Gu Xiling could not help but call Hu Ran's stepmother. But no one answered Mrs. Hu's call. Bastard. Liar. She had promised to teach Hu Ran a lesson. But what happened? Hu Ran was still sitting here drinking tea as if nothing had happened. Gu Xiling did not know how scared and guilty Mrs. Hu was now. To make sure that the paparazzi was not lying, she even drove to the police station. But her car was seen by her colleagues. Since it was a luxury car, she had to let Muchichi identify it. Muchichi was surprised when she saw it, because she had gone to the Hu family with Sheng Xiao and met Mrs. Hu before. She could confirm her identity. But she did not know why this woman was here. Do you know her? She is the stepmother of someone I know. She used to be in the entertainment industry, but she married into a rich family and retired from the industry. Muchichi explained to the captain. But I don't think it is a coincidence that she is here. She must be here because of the paparazzi. When the captain heard this, he immediately laughed. How many people's secrets are hidden in this scumbag's mouth? How can those people not be scared? Muchichi understood this too. So she called Sheng Bowen. Third brother, Xiaoqi? What's the matter? Sheng Bowen was having dinner with the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company at the moment. I saw Mrs. Hu at the police station today. You should know that the police station arrested a paparazzi because of Xinqing's case. I guess Mrs. Hu must be here because of this paparazzi. After all, it is related to third sister-in-law. So, I called you to ask you to pay attention to Mrs. Hu. I am afraid that she is hiding some secrets and will implicate the Hu family. Sheng Bowen was excited when he heard Muchichi. Is his surname Chui? Yes. Chichi, how about this? I will ask Xiao Ran to call you and talk to you about this. You can help her. Although Muchichi did not know what it was, she still agreed. Okay. A few minutes later, Hu Ran called. Chichi, I heard from your third brother that the police station has arrested the paparazzi. You might not know how long your third brother, and I have been looking for him. Speak slowly. Do you know that I got into a car accident 2 years ago? The murderer was hired by my stepmother. And the person who knows about this is the paparazzi with the surname Chui. Who Ran explained concisely. Chichi, can you help me? No wonder your stepmother wants to come to the police station. Mu Chichi suddenly understood what Mrs. Hu was worried about. Third sister-in-law, we are investigating Shenqing's case now. And this paparazzi surname Chui is very difficult to pry open his mouth. Let me tell the team about this first. If I can help you, I will try my best. But after all, this is not a case. Everything has to follow the procedures. Do you understand what I mean? I understand. Anyway, thank you. Hu Ran was very excited. But she also knew that Mu Chichi was in a difficult position. After all, this had nothing to do with Shenqing. Mu Chichi hung up the phone and looked at the black sports car outside the door. Then, she turned around and told the captain about the background of the paparazzi. This person is the second wife of Boss Hu, a real estate developer in this city. She used to be a celebrity. I called her just now to find out why she came here. 2 years ago, she hired someone to kill her stepdaughter. And this paparazzi surname Chui is the insider. She is afraid that the paparazzi will say something that he should not say. As long as the paparazzi is willing to confess, I will settle this case together, said the captain of the criminal investigation team. Captain, thank you. It is our duty to get rid of the evils for the people. After that, Mu Chichi returned to the forensics laboratory. The professor had already dissected Shenqing's body. Her internal organs are all ruptured. Of course she would vomit so much blood. We have found the cause of death. She must have suffered a serious blow or impact before she died. The skin damage is not obvious, and the boundary of the bleeding is not clear. Although it is in the shape of a strip, there is only one line. We can't be sure if it was caused by a round wooden stick. The main thing is that it looks light on the outside, but heavy on the inside. The murderer is very good at using force. Does that mean that this person knows a certain level of self-defense? Or maybe he has practiced something related to fighting or martial arts? Mu Chichi guessed. We can't rule out this possibility. Now we still can't confirm the identity of the second man. The paparazzi are all dishonest. We can't find any traces in Shenqing's house either. This case seems to be quite tricky. Feng Shanshan could not help but sigh. I really don't know what kind of torture she suffered before she died. On the other hand, Hu Ran told her father about her stepmother going to the police station. She also mentioned the car accident that happened 2 years ago. When Papa Hu saw the photo, he became more suspicious of his wife. Xiao Ran, I know. I'll be careful. Dad, I can't find any evidence. But the heavens are fair. I just hope that I won't hurt you by doing this. If she really treated my daughter like that 2 years ago, I won't tolerate her. Papa Hu said firmly. At this time, his wife opened the door and entered the living room. She looked very tired. Where did she go? I haven't seen her all day. Papa Hu deliberately asked his wife. Drinking tea with a friend. Mrs. Hu must not have thought that Mu Chichi was such a meticulous person. Did she not think that she would be discovered by Mu Chichi? Papa Hu did not say anything. He only said, rest early. Don't mess around. Old Hu, it's been so long. Why is there no movement in my stomach? That was because Papa Hu went to the hospital for a vasectomy. Although he wanted a son, he could not let this woman give birth. We're not young anymore. It's not that easy to give birth. It's not the right time yet, Papa Hu explained. I just want to give you a son as soon as possible. Papa Hu turned around and shuddered. If he really let this woman get pregnant and give birth to a son, what would happen to the Hu family? He could only wait for Mu Chichi's results. If she could find evidence, he did not want to tolerate this woman anymore. A woman's heart was the most vicious. Chapter 555. In the end, Gu Xiling waited at home for the news for the whole day. But Mrs. Hu ignored her. She said that she would help. But now she doesn't even answer the phone. Damn that old woman. Hu Ran heard this from behind Gu Xiling. She could not help asking, which old woman? Gu Xiling turned around and saw Hu Ran. She glared at her. Do you have a good upbringing? How could you eavesdrop on others? Since you said that I have no upbringing, I will show you that. Hu Ran snatched the phone from Gu Ziling's hand. She wanted to verify a guess. She looked at Gu Ziling's call history and saw the number that Gu Ziling had dialed the most. Then she took out her phone and compared it. Hu Ran. So, you are waiting for my stepmother's call. Hu Ran laughed. I was wondering how you knew that I was allergic to honey. So, you are in cahoots with that woman? But you probably don't know. She can't even protect herself now. The paparazzi has been arrested. They know too many of her secrets. She is at the police station now. How can she have the time to talk to you? As for the tricks in your heart, if you don't say it, and I don't say it, we both know it. But, I can tell you very seriously that you will not succeed. Then, Hu ran through the phone back to Gu Ziling. And I really want to give you a piece of advice. Those who do evil will bring about their own destruction. Gu Ziling was stunned when she heard Hu Ran's words. No wonder she could not contact that woman until now. It turned out that she could not even protect herself now. In that case, there was no hope that she could help. It seemed that she had to think of a way herself. But she did not know that the eldest young master of the Tiffany family had already discussed this matter with Sheng Bowen. Of course, he would choose to take over Tiffany and Company. After all, it was his family business. Although he had a disappointing younger brother, he could not lose his roots. As for the cooperation with Huang Yao, he agreed to continue and use his own money to fill the gap. But he did not accept the withdrawal of his investment. He also had a condition. Sheng Bowen must be the CEO of Huang Yao. However, Sheng Bowen had not told anyone about it yet. When Sheng Bowen returned home at night, Grandpa Sheng was surprised that he could come home on time for dinner. He asked him, "Aren't you going to welcome the person in charge of Tiffany and Company?" "Grandpa, he has already left. Actually, he arrived in the morning. After we talked, we had lunch together. I sent him off just now. I'll send the letter of intent to you later." Sheng Bowen replied to Grandpa Sheng. Grandpa Sheng looked at Sheng Bowen in shock. He could guess what he was worried about, so he nodded. "Good. You did a good job. I'm just taking precautions." After all, Gu Ziling had colluded with the Hu family to make trouble, but unfortunately, Mrs. Hu was busy with her own affairs. Charney has some conditions. After you read them, discuss them with the board of directors. If they agree, we'll do it this way. No matter what the conditions are. As long as we can continue working together, I can accept them. As long as Huang Yao did not suffer any losses. Sheng Kai's position was still empty. He had locked himself in the study for the past 2 days and refused to see anyone because he couldn't accept that Sheng Bowen was going to replace him. "Grandpa, I want to meet with 8th brother tonight." In the past, when he wanted to meet with 8th brother, Grandpa Sheng would be on guard. But now Sheng Bowen took the initiative to bring it up. He wanted to let Grandpa Sheng untie the knot in his heart. "Go. It's not about Huang Yao. It's about Xiaoran. I'll tell you personally when there's a result." Grandpa Sheng nodded and patted Sheng Bowen's shoulder. "I didn't expect you to be so calm and steady. Not bad." Seeing that Grandpa Sheng had changed, Hu Ran finally felt that he was easier to get along with. But now that there were 2 malignant tumors in the family, she began to worry about Grandpa Sheng's safety. After all, Gu Ziling was someone who could even collude with her stepmother. But now, they would not dare to do anything to Grandpa Sheng. At 9 o'clock at night, 2 cars stopped at the entrance of the Criminal Police Bureau. When the police officers saw them, they said to Mu Chichi, "Xiaoqi, your family is here." Mu Chichi looked out of the door and smiled. "Thank you, Senior." "Chichi, since there are no clues now, you and Shanshan should go back first," the professor said to Mu Chichi and Feng Shanshan. "I won't go back. I don't have a family to send me back." Feng Shanshan took a magnifying glass and observed the body of the deceased, including her clothes. Tang Yan. Seeing that the professor was going to ask Tang Yan to send her home, Feng Shanshan quickly said to him, "Professor, I'll go home myself. I don't want to trouble anyone." Sigh. Tang Yan is not a monster. Look at how popular he is. Feng Shanshan was about to mock him, but she seemed to have found something unexpected. "Professor, I found something." When Shen Qing died, she was wearing silk pajamas, a robe, and a suspender. But when her body was found, her clothes were intact, so they paid more attention to the robe. But now, Feng Shanshan found something that looked like fingerprints on the suspender. Let's do a comparison immediately. At this time, Mu Qiqi had already walked out of the police station. When she saw Sheng Bowen and Hu Ran, she said to them, "Are you here for the paparazzi? Get in the car first," Sheng Xiao said to her. Mu Qiqi nodded and sat beside Sheng Xiao. At this time, she heard Sheng Xiao say, "Do you think that everyone is like me and can stand the smell on your body?" Mu Qiqi sniffed herself and said, "The body hasn't started to stink. I should smell good. Go back and change your clothes first." "I know, my dear husband," Mu Qiqi said quickly. Mu Qiqi quickly said, "I didn't expect second sister-in-law to be involved in this incident. I didn't expect her stepmother to be so ruthless. That's right. Any progress?" Mu Qiqi hugged Sheng Xiao's neck and leaned into his arms. "No. You know the paparazzi's character. He is cunning and knows how to adapt to the situation. He is good at lying." Sheng Xiao hugged her tightly and seriously. "You're on TV again today. You even brought up Enchanting. Are you unhappy?" "No. I like it when you bully others," Sheng Xiao replied. "When I picked you up just now, I found that there were a lot of reporters around. I have asked Su Che to find some people to deal with the media. If you need them, just bring them over." Chapter 556. Mu Qiqi went home, took a shower and changed her clothes. Then, she regained her energy and went out again. But in the meantime, she received a call from Feng Shanshan. She confirmed that the paparazzi's fingerprints were on Shen Qing's pajamas. And it was on the back. That meant it was very likely that the paparazzi pushed Shen Qing down the stairs. With such a clue, the police wanted to interrogate the paparazzi again. When they reached the hotel, Mu Qiqi apologized to Sheng Bowen and third brother. "I'm sorry. It took me some time to take a shower and change my clothes. I'm afraid it will affect your appetite." "It's okay," said Sheng Bowen. "If eighth brother can get used to it, so can we." Sheng Xiao sat next to Mu Qiqi. His right arm was naturally placed on the back of Mu Qiqi's chair. It was a protective posture. "Everyone in Jianchuan knows that Xiao Qi is your wife. Do you still want to do this?" Sheng Bowen complained. "Didn't you call me in the middle of the night and ask me some questions? Have you solved it?" Sheng Xiao did not want to be outdone. Third brother coughed violently. His face turned red from ear to ear. "What is it?" Mu Qiqi quickly asked. "It's nothing. It's just a private conversation between men." Sheng Bowen quickly interrupted and changed the topic. "Aren't you going to talk about the paparazzi? Let's get to the point." Because there was no evidence before, the paparazzi could say whatever he wanted. He was fearless, and he wouldn't say anything else. "However, my friend just called me and told me that there was progress in this case. As for what the progress is, I can't tell you. However, I told the captain about third sister-in-law's matter. The captain said that if he could get the paparazzi to talk, he would investigate this case as well. Are you confident?" Sheng Bowen seemed to be more nervous than Hu Ran. Mu Qiqi shook her head. "There is no evidence after all. It's okay, Xiaoqi. My father is very suspicious of that woman now. This can guarantee that what I'm worried about will not happen. She was afraid that the woman would have her father's child. She would not be able to separate from her father. Don't worry. Trust the police." Sheng Bowen laughed when he heard Mu Qiqi's words. He looked at her from head to toe. "Your tone is more and more like those policemen on TV. I'm telling the truth." Mu Qiqi glared at him. "Professional things should be left to the professionals. Speaking of which, how are things going in Huangyao?" "That's right. I have already discussed with the people from Tiffany and Company, and this matter can be resolved smoothly. However, they have a condition. I must be the CEO of Huangyao." "Isn't that perfect?" Mu Qiqi turned to look at Sheng Xiao. "But I'm guessing second brother won't let it go so easily. He doesn't know about this yet, does he? If he knew, he would flip the heavens. But we'll know tomorrow." "So you've completely dragged Sheng Kai down." "Based on second brother's temper, he will definitely stab them in the back. Don't forget, there's still Gu Xiling by his side. That woman isn't just your average kind of evil. Previously, Xiao Ren almost lost her life because of honey. She was the one who colluded with her stepmother. You actually let her walk in front of you. Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes. I thought the bankruptcy of the goose would be her end. She still wants to continue stirring up trouble. Xiao Qi, no matter what, I have to thank you for what you did this time. Otherwise, third brother and I would have to put in a lot of effort and be schemed against. Hu Ran said and toasted Mu Qiqi. I hope this matter will end well. Mu Qiqi was smiling happily, but Sheng Xiao couldn't. Why are you pulling a long face? Your teachers have been calling me all day today. What do you think? Sheng Xiao asked her. He had clearly told Mu Qiqi to go to class today and practice self-defense. But she had been staying in the branch office all day and refused to answer all the calls from strangers. All my efforts are wasted. I swear, I really forgot, Mu Qiqi quickly explained. I will remember next time. Do you still have credibility with me? Mu Qiqi immediately stopped talking. She looked at Sheng Bowen, and who ran helplessly. Sheng Bowen smiled. I can't save you. I can't beat eighth brother's IQ. Why are you still smiling? Sheng Zhao's gaze swept across the two of them. Have you done your business? Sheng Bowen choked, and could only pretend to be mute. This person was really unforgiving with his words. Grandpa agreed to let me come out to see you today. I think he has slowly thought it through. After hearing Sheng Bowen's words, Sheng Xiao suddenly thought of the document that Grandpa Sheng gave him. It was not that Grandpa Sheng had thought it through, but he had recognized some facts. Because third brother and Hu Ran were not there, the Sheng family was not very lively. Perhaps because he knew that third brother was not at home, Sheng Kai finally walked out of the study to eat. However, his untidy appearance was really surprising. After the meal, Grandpa Sheng got up from the dining table. Second brother, come to my study. Sheng Bowen snorted coldly. He put down his bowl and chopsticks and followed behind Grandpa Sheng. As soon as he entered the study, Grandpa Sheng asked him sternly, Look at yourself. What a scandal. Didn't you force me to be like this, Grandpa? Sheng Kai sneered while leaning on the bookshelf. Didn't you see that I don't have the support of the Gu family? So you turned your eyes to third brother? Grandpa Sheng took a deep breath. He suddenly felt that he could not communicate with Sheng Kai at all, because second brother's heart was filled with resentment. There will be a board meeting tomorrow. Third brother will replace you as the CEO. You two can exchange positions. Second brother, your current mentality is not suitable to be the CEO. Grandpa Sheng said to Sheng Kai seriously. Think about it. There's nothing to think about. I don't want to be the deputy CEO. I plan to sell my shares and leave the Sheng family. I believe that Grandpa will not stop a useless person like me. Second brother. Grandpa Sheng was shocked. I said that I will not let anyone leave the Sheng family. Then don't drag me down from the position of CEO. Sheng Kai was very agitated and his emotions exploded. I am either the crown prince of Huang Yao, or I am nothing. Having said that, Sheng Kai wanted to leave the study. However, Grandpa Sheng was so angry that he collapsed in front of the desk and fainted again. Chapter 557. Late at night, third brother and Hu Ran came back from outside. You go back to your room first. I have something to tell Grandpa. Hu Ran nodded and let go of Sheng Bowen's hand. He smiled and walked to the door of Grandpa Sheng's study. He saw the light in the room, but Grandpa Sheng did not respond. Sheng Bowen went to Grandpa Sheng's bedroom. When he saw that there was no one there, he realized that something was wrong. He quickly knocked the door open and saw Grandpa Sheng lying on the ground. He quickly called for someone. Butler, call the ambulance. The Sheng family was alarmed again. They rushed to the hospital in the middle of the night. Third brother, when did Grandpa faint? Sixth brother could not help asking. Is he in danger? I don't know. I've just returned. Third brother answered. But he kept his scrutinizing gaze on Sheng Kai, because he heard from the butler that the only person Grandpa Sheng saw after dinner was Sheng Kai. I hope Grandpa is fine. Second brother. What did you say to Grandpa last night? Hearing Sheng Bowen's question, Sheng Kai looked at him coldly. Why? Are you suspecting that Grandpa's illness is because of me? The doctor said that Grandpa should not be agitated. You are the CEO of Huangyao now. Can you be so arrogant? The last person Grandpa saw was indeed me. But how would I know when and how he fainted? Sheng Kai asked in return. Can you brothers stop blaming each other at a time like this? Hu Ran could not help but ask. Third brother started it, didn't he? Besides, didn't you hate Grandpa before? Now that you know Grandpa is your help, you have changed your attitude? If your family members continue to quarrel, please leave the hospital. The patient is in a severe coma now. We don't know when he will wake up. The doctor from the emergency department came out and said to the Sheng family, What's the point of finding fault now? He is already like this. The two brothers stopped talking. The rest of the Sheng family also lowered their heads. We did not send him to the hospital in time this time. Be prepared. We don't know if he will wake up. Thank you, doctor. We were wrong. Sheng Bowen quickly corrected his attitude. I hope you can help and save our grandpa. That's more like it. The doctor rolled his eyes and left. At this time, Sheng Bowen took out his phone and wanted to inform Sheng Xiao, although he did not know if eighth brother and Grandpa Sheng had reconciled. What are you doing? Informed fourth sister and eighth brother. After hearing Sheng Bowen's words, Sheng Kai snatched his phone and smashed it. You know that eighth brother is a thorn in Grandpa's heart. Do you want Grandpa to die? Grandpa will want to see eighth brother. Big brother isn't here, and I'm the boss. I won't allow it. Seeing the two of them quarreling again, the doctor finally chased them out, but the two of them were still quarreling in the hospital garden. You're afraid that when eighth brother comes back, you won't have any hope, right? Having said that, Sheng Bowen turned around and left. But that was when Hu Ran sent a message to Mu Chichi. Mu Chichi saw that Grandpa Sheng was in trouble. She did not want to hide it from Sheng Xiao, so she passed the phone to him. Grandpa Sheng is in a coma again. I heard that it will be very difficult for him to wake up this time. Do you want to go and see him? Sheng Xiao took the phone and put down the document. Although he did not say whether he would go or not, he contacted Su Che and asked him to find the best experts and authorities overnight. If something really happens to Grandpa Sheng, the Sheng family will really be in a state of disunity. Sheng Xiao did not say anything. He just patted Mu Chichi's shoulder. Go to sleep. At the police station, the police were still interrogating the paparazzi. You still don't want to confess. Did you kill Shenqing? No, officer. I've said it many times. I really didn't kill Shenqing. I wanted to threaten her and get some money, but she didn't agree to it. So I didn't force her and left the Dolphin Bay Villa early. So you and Shenqing did not even have any physical contact. The police continued to set him up. No, I already said I did not. Then why are your fingerprints on Shenqing's body? The police took the evidence and showed it to the paparazzi. Do you know that all the evidence points to you? You are still wasting time here. Chui, let me be honest with you. Every second you waste here is extremely disadvantageous to you. Think about it yourself. The paparazzi was stunned when he saw that. His emotions changed a little, but it was not enough to make him break down completely. So the police continued to set him up. Your dirty deeds are really one after another. It's fine if you don't admit to killing Shenqing. But tell me about the car accident that happened 2 years ago. Your good friend, Mrs. Hu, came to the police station today. In order to express our suspicion, we went to the police station to find out why she came. So it turns out that she was afraid that you would spill the beans. That case has nothing to do with me. The paparazzi quickly waved his hand. Since the police have found out about it, they will definitely get to the bottom of it sooner or later. If you are willing to cooperate, this is also a chance for you to redeem yourself. If I tell you about it, will it reduce my crime? What do you think? The police asked. About that matter, the most I can do is not report it. The paparazzi quibbled. After my friend married into the Hu family, she could not have a son because her stepdaughter was very against it. So, she found someone in the circle who did the work for her. Unfortunately, the stepdaughter was very lucky and did not die. Who is the person who did the work? I can't tell you. I'm afraid of death. I can only say that he is very famous. Alright, now tell us how you got the fingerprints on Shenqing's body. The police led the paparazzi around And back to the original point. The paparazzi thought that he could divert the police's attention with another topic, but he did not expect that the police were really used to his little tricks. In the end, he could only confess. Yes, I did push her, but I did not kill her, officer. Moreover, I did not mean it. At that time, Xinqing could still move, so I thought that she just fell down, so I did not call the police. Didn't you say that you did not touch Xinqing? Now you push Xinqing? Which of your words is true and which is false? Moreover, even if she could still move and was only injured, you could call the ambulance. Maybe her life could be saved. Have you thought about this? Chapter 558. Officer, it's not that serious. I really didn't want to kill her. It was just a mistake. The interrogating officer took the opportunity to pressure the paparazzi. Tell me everything you know. Feng Shanshan stayed in the autopsy room until late. She wanted to know how much the paparazzi could spit out. Unfortunately, the paparazzi only admitted that he pushed Xinqing. Of course, he also told her about the car accident and the name of the person. As for the man who appeared in Xinqing's house that night, the paparazzi only took a picture of him wearing a hat and lowering his head. He could not identify him at all. It's 1 a.m. We can't get a car anywhere now. Shall I ask Tang Yin to send you? The professor suggested. At this hour, it was dark and windy outside. Feng Shanshan was still afraid. So when Tang Yin entered the forensics lab, Feng Shanshan could only say politely, "Thank you, Officer Tang. I'm still riding a motorcycle today. If you are not used to it, I'm used to it." Feng Shanshan flattered him. Tang Yin did not say anything. He just passed the helmet to her. I really thought that you never ask for help. Feng Shanshan lowered her head and secretly rolled her eyes. If I had any other choice, I definitely wouldn't ask for help from you. Let's go. Feng Shanshan did not expect Tang Yin to lift her up with one hand and put her on the back seat. Then he stepped over the body of the car. This man was really strong. With him in front of her, it was like there was an indestructible wall. Feng Shanshan felt comfortable blocking the wind. Soon Tang Yin sent her downstairs. Feng Shanshan thanked him and quickly went upstairs. She did not expect her roommate to bring her boyfriend back. They were having a good time in the living room, so she quietly left. But she was afraid of the stairwell, so she quickly rushed downstairs and stopped Tang Yin's car. "Officer Tang, please take me in." Tang Yin glanced at her and then looked at the apartment. "What's wrong?" "My roommate and boyfriend are inside." Tang Yin glanced at her and then quietly approached her. "You are a single woman. Are you inviting me to my house? I trust and respect you as a police officer, okay? Or, you can lend me money, and I can stay in a hotel." Feng Shanshan was angry. "Get in the car." Tang Yin did not say much. "Don't let my uncle know tomorrow. Who wants others to know?" Feng Shanshan blushed. Why did she trust Tang Yin? Firstly, it was really because she believed that he was a police officer. Secondly, this man should not be interested in relationships, because he was a complete workaholic. As for the third reason, after so many fieldwork, whether it was a hotel or a bar, she would be worried about her safety. The car was fast, but it was also long enough. When Tang Yin drove Feng Shanshan to his house, she almost fell asleep. Somehow, she followed Tang Yin into his apartment, and the furnishings in his apartment were really in line with a single man's taste. It was totally an American industrial style. "Look at that big sandbag hanging in the hall. TSK. I'll sleep in the study. This is your activity area. But don't touch my things. The bedroom is upstairs. Help yourself." After that, Tang Yin entered his study. Feng Shanshan could not help but take a deep breath. In order not to bring trouble to others and herself, she simply washed up and lay down on the sofa next to the bed on the second floor. She knew that her body did not smell as good as it seemed, because she was very tired. Feng Shanshan fell asleep very quickly. Tang Yin, who was in the study, was a little curious. Why was Feng Shanshan not moving? So when he went out, he saw that Feng Shanshan had curled up on the sofa and fallen asleep. He did not disturb her. "You have a bed, but you don't want to sleep. Do you dislike it?" It was precisely because of such an opportunity that Tang Yin could finally take a good look at Feng Shanshan when she was quiet. Her looks were top-notch, but her personality was not pleasing. Her mouth was also poisonous, and there was a sense of wickedness in her bones. Tang Yin felt that such a woman was not his type at all, so he looked at her for a while. Then out of politeness he looked away and went back to his study. Grandpa Sheng fell sick again. But the matter between Huang Yao and Tiffany and Company had to be resolved. Sheng Bowen returned to Huang Yao the next morning and attended the board meeting as scheduled. He took out Charney's contract. I met Charney yesterday and sent him off at night. We talked about the cooperation between Huang Yao and Tiffany and Company, and he agreed to restart it. But there are some conditions. You can take a look at it. One of the conditions is that he is willing to use money to fill the gap. It does not mean that we can withdraw our investment. Secondly, he hopes that our cooperation will be based on me being the CEO of Huang Yao. You can discuss this. When the shareholders saw the contract, they saw hope. Moreover, Grandpa Sheng had already decided to make Sheng Bowen the CEO and Sheng Kai the vice president. Now, it was reasonable for Tiffany and Company to make such a request. I have no objection. I believe that third young master will not let us down. But my grandfather is sick now. I will temporarily take over the role of the CEO. As for the rest, we can talk about it after he wakes up, said Sheng Bowen. What do you think? Everyone take a stand. We all agree. Sheng Bowen went to Huang Yao to deal with some matters. Naturally, Sheng Kai stayed in the ward. Before this, it was Sheng Kai who guarded against third brother and his wife. Now it was time for the tables to be turned. Seeing this, Gu Xiling pushed Hu Ran aside. Don't tell me that you are not worried that Grandpa's will fall into our hands. You and third brother pretended to be dignified before. What about now? You and your wife have become sick. Can't you feel it? Hu Ran said coldly. If you and third brother really don't care about the inheritance, then you shouldn't be so anxious now. Whether you believe it or not, third brother, and I hope that Grandpa will be safe. We also hope that you will not say such vicious words in front of Grandpa. He will not do as you wish. Gu Xiling laughed mockingly. Since her husband was there, she wanted to push Hu Ran out of the ward. It's better for us not to stay in the same space. Otherwise, we will be kicked out again. That will be a joke. Hu Ran was not as shameless as Gu Xiling. So she sat on the bench outside the ward. She did not believe that this couple would be so kind to take care of Grandpa Sheng. All they cared about was the inheritance that Grandpa Sheng was holding on to. Chapter 559. After a while, more people came to the ward. This time, the Shengs did not know the people who came, but they came with the doctor to transfer Grandpa Sheng to another hospital. When Sheng Kai heard that, he immediately stood up and asked, Who are you? We are experts invited by Mr. Sheng Xiao. We want to do a further examination for Grandpa Sheng and formulate a treatment plan, answered the person. Sheng Xiao. Sheng Kai sneered when he heard the name. You used to anger Grandpa half to death. Now you are putting on an act. At this time, Sheng Bowen came back from Huang Yao and entered the ward. What's going on? The people eighth brother found may sound nice, saying that they are here to treat Grandpa. But we all know how serious eighth brother is. Isn't it obvious what he wants to do? Sheng Kai stopped the group of people. We won't turn around. Eighth brother won't harm Grandpa. Of course you believe him. But I don't. I've seen through the tricks you and eighth brother are playing. You want to control Grandpa and the whole of Huang Yao, right? No way. Sheng Kai refused to budge. Second young master, if you resist like this, you might delay the chairman's treatment. Don't scare me with this, said Sheng Kai firmly. Sheng Kai said firmly, I don't want those ambitious people to touch Grandpa, unless he comes to talk to me personally. Sheng Bowen rolled his eyes when he saw this. Just when he was about to speak, the door of the ward was pushed open again. The person who came said in a calm and powerful tone, What do you want to talk about? Eighth brother. Sheng Bowen immediately looked at Sheng Xiao. When the doctors and nurses saw Sheng Xiao, they knew that the person in charge had come, because Sheng Xiao's aura was so strong that they could not ignore it. Since you're really here, let's have a talk. With that, Sheng Kai stood up. Everyone else get out. Why don't you go out and talk? Sheng Bowen asked. Before that, I won't let you touch Grandpa. Sheng Bowen was speechless. No one needs to go out, said Sheng Xiao bluntly. If you have anything to say it here. I don't want to waste more time on you. Waste. Sheng Kai could not help but laugh sadly. Eighth brother, you used to trust me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have handed Huang Yao to me. But why do you have to go against me in every way? You don't know the reason. Sheng Xiao walked into the ward and sat down on the sofa. You're wrong. I didn't hand Huang Yao over to you. It's second brother who was killed by you. The second brother in the past wouldn't use all means to humiliate and guard against his brother, just because he was in power. But you would. You're afraid that someone will seize your power and take everything away from you. That's why you've become extremely selfish. How dare you talk about my trust? Once upon a time, you asked me if I regretted leaving behind Huang Yao in the future. Right now, I can tell you very seriously that I don't regret it at all, because your misfortune wasn't caused by me. You enjoy the glory of being the crown prince while blaming me for giving you so many problems. But if I don't leave, the position of crown prince will never belong to you. You, do you, Don, you, Huang, you. I know you are eloquent. I can't win against you. Sheng Kai wanted to talk at first. Now that Sheng Xiao was willing to talk to him, he wanted to escape. You are such a failure, Sheng Xiao said. You are not even as good as the receptionist of Zhongting. To put it bluntly, I look down on you. You are not even qualified to be my opponent. Third brother always gives in to you. I don't have the energy to do that. Do you really think that you can stop me? Sheng Xiao looked at Sheng Kai coldly. His tone was much sharper. He did not give Sheng Kai any face at all. You. And her. Sheng Xiao pointed at Gu Xiling. I don't want to see Grandpa Sheng in the hospital. If you want to use force, I'm ready. Eighth brother, you still like to bully others. That's because you are not capable, Sheng Xiao replied. You didn't listen to me when I tried to persuade you. You just want to do it the hard way. When Sheng Zhao's aura rose, everyone in the ward was afraid. Ever since he established Zhongting, he rarely acted like this. But today, there was a special one. Sheng Xiao, Kai is your brother after all. I don't even recognize my ancestors. Sheng Xiao retorted sharply. You Gu Xiling have contributed a lot to Sheng Kai becoming like this. If you don't want your grandfather's business to be destroyed, from now on, you'd better avoid me whenever you see me. I'm disgusted by you. I'll give you 2-3 seconds to get out of my sight. Otherwise, I will show you the new Sheng Xiao. Everyone's heart skipped a beat at Sheng Zhao's words. Sheng Kai was stunned for 2 seconds. Then, he walked out of Grandpa Sheng's ward. Of course, Gu Xiling did not dare to stay when her husband had left. Eighth brother is furious. It's so scary. Who ran quickly whispered into third brother's ear when she saw the two of them leaving. Of course. How do you think he managed the Sheng family all these years? Third brother said. Domineering. Mr. Sheng, I don't think there's a need for a consultation. Grandpa Sheng has woken up. The doctor who was examining Grandpa Sheng suddenly said to everyone. Maybe what you said just now provoked him and woke him up. Sheng Bowen looked forward and saw Grandpa Sheng opening his eyes. Grandpa, how do you feel? Grandpa Sheng had been unconscious for a night, so he had difficulty speaking. I'm fine. He had indeed woken up when he heard Sheng Zhao's voice. But he did not expect that Sheng Xiao had already taught second brother a lesson. Since he's awake, let the doctor do another check. I have something to do, so I'm going back to Zhongting. Sheng Xiao did not want Grandpa Sheng to know that he had been here. Eighth brother, you should care about Grandpa. Sheng Xiao said nothing, and let Su Che open the door. Soon, he disappeared from the corridor of the hospital. Meanwhile, Sheng Kai and his wife were in the garden of the hospital. Xiling, do you know? I'm really tired. I want to leave the Sheng family completely. I want to start my own business. I don't want to be ordered around by Sheng Xiao like a dog anymore. How could Gu Xiling not be angry? Chapter 560. You're right. If Sheng Xiao could rebuild Zhongting, why can't I? But if we leave, we won't have a share in Grandpa's inheritance. Xiling, now is not the time. Let's just bear with it. Gu Xiling stopped talking when she heard the word inheritance. She did not want to let the Sheng family benefit from it. One was Mu Qiqi, and the other was Hu Bimbo. But I have never been wronged like this since I was young. Never. Gu Xiling felt uncomfortable when she thought of Sheng Zhao's humiliation just now. Don't worry, I've noted down all of these debts. When Grandpa leaves, and we get our hands on the inheritance, we'll settle it again. Sheng Kai did not know how ugly and hideous he looked at the moment. Of course, Sheng Xiao would never treat Sheng Kai as his brother after what he said just now. They would be enemies when they met again. Grandpa Sheng woke up and sat on the bed for a long time. After a while he asked Sheng Bowen, "How long have I been unconscious?" "Grandpa, just one night. From now on, leave the matters of the Sheng family to us. You can't be agitated anymore," Sheng Bowen said to Grandpa Sheng. Grandpa Sheng's eyes were a little dazed. He looked into the distance and could not focus. After a while he said, "Yes, I can't take care of it anymore. I am relieved to leave Huang Yao to you, because you are a generous person. It doesn't matter if second brother and his wife are arrogant. After all, eighth brother will not stand by if they cause trouble. In the end, isn't eighth brother still managing Huang Yao? What do I need to worry about? My only regret is that apart from fourth sister who is pregnant, none of you have children yet. I can't see the next generation of the Sheng family being born. Grandpa, there will be. Your eldest brother is always flirting everywhere, and is not serious at all. Your second brother is infertile, and after your fifth brother emigrated, he rarely comes back. Your sixth brother is disappointing, and your seventh brother is crazy. Now who else can I count on? Grandpa, are you saying that second brother is infertile?" Sheng Bowen grasped the key point and asked Grandpa Sheng. "Don't tell anyone about this. You and Xiao Ran have to hurry up." Sheng Bowen was still a little shocked when he heard the news. Sheng Kai couldn't have children. Perhaps some things were destined. So, you don't have to hate him so much. Because of these two comas, the old man felt that his time was free. If he could live one more day, even if it was just one day, he really did not have the mood to resent and plot. Unfortunately, second brother and his wife were walking further and further down the road of reunion. Sheng Xiao threw a tantrum at the hospital, and Su Che sent a message to Mu Qiqi about it. So after she had no classes in the afternoon, she did not go straight to the Criminal Investigation Bureau. Instead, she went to Zhongting. When the secretary saw her, she was about to knock on the door for her, but Mu Qiqi made a shushing gesture and took the coffee from the secretary. "It's almost night, and you're still drinking coffee? Change to a glass of water." The secretary did as she was told, and quickly handed her another cup. Mu Qiqi knocked on the door and entered. She walked straight to Sheng Zhao's side, but he did not notice her. He simply took a sip from the cup, and when he found that it was plain water, he looked up in confusion. "It's almost 6 o'clock. Why are you still drinking coffee?" Sheng Xiao put down the pen in his hand and leaned against the chair in a relaxed posture. He turned to Mu Qiqi. "Why did you come?" "Because of someone. He went to the hospital today and threw a big tantrum. I thought you would need my comfort, so I came here immediately." Mu Qiqi sat on his lap. "Are you worried about Sheng Kai?" Sheng Xiao shook his head. "Since I don't treat him as a brother, I definitely don't want to waste time on him." "Then why are you still so shameless?" "It's just, you just feel that Sheng Kai has betrayed your trust, and you have betrayed the trust of everyone in Huang Yao, right?" Mu Qiqi guessed. "Although you are indeed successful in the business world, Sheng Kai is a person, and an ambitious person. People's hearts will change. This is not something you can control." Sheng Xiao gently stroked Mu Qiqi's hair. Mu Qiqi's hair must be fragrant since she did not go to the autopsy room. So he relaxed and temporarily removed the invincible armor. "As long as you have a clear conscience, that's enough." He did not expect that this little one actually knew how to comfort him. "Leave those things to third brother in the future. You know very well that he will have to face it himself sooner or later. Look at you. It seems that you can't continue working. Hardworking CEO Sheng, why don't you skip work today?" Sheng Xiao raised his wrist and looked at his watch. Then, he put Mu Qiqi down and said, I'll send you to the forensics laboratory. No need. I'll accompany you tonight. We'll do whatever you want to do. Feng Shanshan and Tang Yin were there anyway. The professor should not be short of help. But her man needed her company. The invincible god could also be weak, and let his imagination run wild. In the evening, Gu Xiling came to the ward with dinner. When she saw Grandpa Sheng, her expression was a little unnatural. The butler asked the kitchen to make these dishes. They are all Grandpa's favorite dishes. Third brother, you and Xiao Ran can go back and rest. Xiling will be fine here. Sheng Bowen glanced at Hu Ran and finally agreed to Grandpa Sheng. Then we'll go back and rest. In fact, it was a compromise. He wanted to let Gu Xiling know that they never wanted to take the opportunity to make Grandpa Sheng change his will. Everything was just Sheng Kai's imagination. Go. Grandpa Sheng waved at them. After they left, he said to Gu Xiling, "Second brother can't have children. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to tell him and do a test tube test," Gu Xiling replied. Gu Xiling replied, "I heard what you said in the afternoon. You said that you want to see the next generation of the Sheng family being born. I'm old and can't play around anymore. The world belongs to you young people. But Xiling, since you're the one I've chosen, you're also outstanding. However, I hope that you and second brother can support each other and not become each other's stumbling blocks. Since you're going to do that, go ahead." That was Gu Xiling's plan. If they had children, wouldn't they get a bigger share of Grandpa Sheng's inheritance? Looking at Grandpa Sheng's body, it was not a sign of longevity. She had to plan everything as soon as possible. But if she told Sheng Kai about it, he would probably go crazy. What she was afraid of was that even if Sheng Kai agreed, the quality of his sperm would not be up to standard. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.